Anything I need to be ready for? We got a
I
plan.
mean,
I'm just.
as long as you're hydrated, dude. That's the thing
I
about these
understand you're not
podcasts.
hydrated. Oh, I
That's
know
the
what
thing
I'll do.
about these. Blur has left the chat. Blur's got the
There we go.
banana.
We need
Go
Richard in the
banana.
background. My banana.
Little Richard.
Richard.
Uh,
He's my homie.
what microphone are you using? Is that the Blue mic
Yeah, it's the Blue Yeti. Yeah,
from the Blue Yeti? Oh, the Blue
it's
Yeti.
it's
I
yeah. I
had
think
is that the Pro Blue Yeti or is that the classic?
I have no idea. It was like when I bought it at the time, it was like 150, I think, but it was kind of old. So I think it's just the standard Blue Yeti. I know it's not the Snowball,
Okay.
but I don't know if they
Well,
have
yeah. Well,
the
the
other
it
one.
looks like the same as mine, but I was wondering if it has because the professional one has the XLR input.
I don't think it does. It just has USB and audio, an audio
Okay, so
jack.
yeah, it's just a classic Yeti,
I
but
think
with the
so.
blue
Yeah.
color,
I'm
the
gonna
blue to
move it a
stay on
little bit out of
brand.
the way. There we
They
go.
were like, we're calling our company blue, so we better make all our
Keeping
stuff
it blue.
blue.
I could have got a black one, but I don't know. I just like
Yeah,
blue at the
yeah,
time.
yeah. I
I
mean,
was
it looks good. I mean, looks good in your setup and all. I mean, you got the
monkey.
blue lights. Well, you got the blue and purple back there.
Exactly.
I don't have much on color as far as
Some
like my
LEDs.
lighting goes.
Yeah,
It's
I
pretty
like the
it's pretty
dark kind of
neutral.
vibes.
It works good for my setup, I think. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Hell yeah.
It's That's the thing. Took forever to like find a style that I liked. For a while there, I had like a big orange room. Then
Yeah.
I had the ugly green room.
Dude, that's the
That
hardest
was
thing
where I.
is
Yeah.
figuring out what you want to decorate it as.
But yeah, essentially, this podcast has no form, has no
Okay, okay.
format. Usually, I just talk for like 20 minutes to an hour,
Right.
whichever, however it goes. We could very well run longer,
Hell
based
yeah.
on just because,
Yeah.
I found that like when I get together with like people that also are like internet creators,
Right.
it just so there's always been like a bit of a I don't know, like a vibe, a common vibe
Exactly.
to it.
A vibe. You gotta
And I,
vibe out a little bit.
it doesn't exist with most people I talk to, but like everyone I've
Yeah.
met through YouTube and online, it always works out to where like you sit, next thing you know, it's been 2 hours and you've been talking about
Exactly.
Sonic fan fiction or something. I don't know, dude.
Is that what the subject is today?
Yeah,
Oh shit.
we're breaking down the best Sonic fan fictions
We're gonna make a
based on how
tier list.
raunchy they are.
A tier
Sonic
list.
fan fiction tier list.
And we have plenty of illustrations. Hell yeah.
I have read some Sonic fan fiction in my day, dude. Don't
Don't ask why.
don't know how much of that I want to get into on a podcast.
It's just for
I mean, the
research.
podcast has been like 90% myself giving myself therapy,
Oh, there we go.
talking to
It's a good
myself
yeah,
about
it's a
my
good way of like
feelings.
yeah, a good way of like
It's
getting thoughts
it's a
out.
good way of getting like your internalized stuff out there, right?
Facts, facts.
Like
I'm gonna go
you know,
if I'm gonna go blow my nose real quick and put on a
okay,
jacket
do
because it's
it,
kinda cold here.
do
I
it.
should be right back.
All right, I'll narrate for the people who cannot see the video. Blur has left the camera. He's walked behind the couch where his banana is sitting. Anyway, welcome to Fridays with Vinnie, everybody. Welcome to Fridays. It's another Friday. Your boy Vinnie Haunted is sitting down here with the one, the only, the guy that I used to we used to know him as Blur. Now he is known as. I'll have to ask him when he comes back, like what he wants people to like call him, like how he's branding himself now, because like his channel name on Twitch is CyanIce. So yeah, when he gets back, I'll have to ask him what he if he's trying to like get himself to be called that, or if he's got a different term that he uses. Because he's one of those guys that like this is another thing is like he hasn't unlike me he doesn't share his name on on the internet, which is probably a good idea. I mean, not gonna lie, it's not a bad idea. You know, I would do that if freaking if if I if it were me, you know. But I don't have the luxury of returning to that. So okay, here he comes back. Everybody act natural. Nothing's going on. Nothing's going on.
All right.
All
Should
right.
be good.
Should we introduce the podcast?
I'm down.
It only
Let's
took us
do
5 minutes.
it. Yeah, exactly. I gotta put on my
Anyway,
in my
happy
earbuds.
Friday. Happy Friday. I was going to ask you actually,
Yes.
because we kind of talked about it a little bit, but it was via the chat on Twitch on my stream yesterday.
Right.
I couldn't get a really feel on it. But like, I have the habit of calling you Blur because that was your
Oh
name
yeah.
back in the YouTube days, and that was just
Yeah.
it's a perfect nickname, right? Like Blur
Yeah.
Velocity, you just shortened it to Blur, and it worked really well. What are you
True.
branding your nickname now? Because you don't put your real name online, do you?
So I
Not
mean,
on your
people
content.
know my real
Sometimes,
name.
do you?
Yeah, they
I
know
don't.
my real name.
I
If
don't know your
oh,
real name. What the heck?
is it a little bit laggy, like
I
behind?
don't think so. It sounds fine to me.
Okay,
Maybe
I
like
think.
my connection is coming through a little slower because it might have to downscale. I'm actually using my DSLR to record because I discovered a way I could
Uh,
use it to stream. I use it as a webcam now.
okay,
But
I think
problem
we're
is
good
the
then.
battery only lasts for about an hour, and then
Oh,
it's like peace out. So
It's-
yeah, I need to buy like the cord because you can just plug it in directly, and then I don't have to worry about
yeah.
that. Either that or just
Uh,
get an extra battery. I don't know, but
I think it'll be all right. But yeah, a lot of people know my name is Josiah, but no one really
okay,
calls me that. Everyone in real life, like my friends and shit, they call me JoJo. So that's either people call
okay,
me JoJo, some people call me JoJo, Blur,
yeah.
Cyan. Like it doesn't really matter. I
I
don't really
like that.
care.
That's a meme. Like it's like I could be seen as like a nod to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but
Exactly.
I see it as Get Back by the Beatles.
Oh.
Where JoJo was a man who thought he was. JoJo was a man who thought he was a man, but he did it. JoJo left
Oh
his
yeah.
home in Tucson, Arizona, looking for California grass.
I have never heard that song. What the hell?
Really,
Also,
it's
I
such
don't
a
really
good song,
listen to like
dude. But
old.
like,
I don't
yeah,
listen
I
to like
don't. I
old
mean, I
music.
understand that completely, dude. I am like, I've said it before. Like, I'm in the wrong era mentally. Like, I'm still obsessed with 60s and 70s, and it's like, dude, the
Back in the good
80s and
old days.
90s are old news.
Yeah,
When I
back
was a
in the good
kid,
old
it's like,
days.
Vinny, you are 24.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know.
You're
I like music, but like I've never really gotten to the older ones because I kind of grew up and I
mm,
knew of like the popular hits and shit, but growing
right.
up in a really Christian home, I didn't really know any of the
Yeah,
more
yeah.
modern shit. So I kind of grew
Yeah,
up in
I mean,
like,
I've cut back to so many like old albums, but also I've been trying to here recently. I've been trying to do new ones. I mean, here on the podcast, we have a segment called the Aux Cable, where I essentially have
oh,
people send me recommendations for listening to albums, and so I've listened to some
oh,
newer stuff. And
oh,
there's
do
one
I
guy
get
which I
to do a
really liked that I
recommendation?
got sent in via that was Blue. You ever heard of Blue? He's BLU. He's a rapper. He had a recent album
Maybe.
called The Color Blue, but he's really good, dude.
Yeah.
And so it's like I've been trying to expand my musical vocabulary because
Hell yeah.
I'm not sure how much success I'll find doing 70s style
Yeah.
music.
Yeah. I don't know
Plenty
if
of
there's
old
really a
grandmas will
market for
come to
it.
my concert.
Oh yeah,
That'll
they'll
be
be getting wild. Grandma's get
like,
I
whoa,
mean,
grandma getting crazy in the front row.
yeah, they
Have
go a
my
little crazy.
babies. You have nothing. You
What's
have
the
no eggs left, grandma.
what's the rating for this podcast? Like what
You know
audience
what?
we
It's a
going for?
mature podcast. I
Oh,
have it
okay,
marked
okay.
as mature. I have had episodes where I didn't curse at all, and then
Yeah.
episodes where I cursed like every couple of seconds.
Well,
It's all my mood, dude. It's all my mood. Sometimes I'm in either a grumpy mood or I'm in like a goofy mood where I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
you know how that is. Like sometimes there's like comedic cursing, and then there's like angry
Exactly.
cursing, and
Very
then
special timings.
yeah, yeah,
You gotta do
yeah.
very special timing. I will
I
say, grandmas give the best blowjobs.
I mean, I wouldn't know, but
Just pop
I mean,
that, pop
what
those
you do
dentures
with your
out.
what you do with your grandma is with you, man.
Okay, it's not my grandma. It's someone's grandma out there. Let me just get the record. I do not support incest, but if you want to get yourself a gilf, go for it. I support that.
Yeah, I I mark it off as I cut myself off at milfs.
What
I mean,
else? Yeah,
my wife is a mom now, so
technically,
technically,
you're
I'm married
right.
to a milf, dude. I got
You're a milf maker.
yeah, man.
You're a milf maker.
I made that milf like nobody's
You
business.
made it real quick. You got on that shit.
It was just like you're one of marriage. It was just like, oh, Vinny really should learn to use be
Yeah.
more careful. Technically,
Did
first
you?
one was an accident.
Oh shit. Okay.
I think that's I think that's common knowledge. I talked about it on the
Yeah,
podcast before.
that's what I was
But yeah,
wondering.
it was just yeah, it wasn't. I was planning on waiting a couple of years first, but then
Right.
like we had Silas, and like I
It
don't
happened.
super regret it. That's the thing. When you're a parent, it's not like you're like I wish I didn't have this kid because you love them, but like at the same time, it's like if I could go back and not remember how much fun this was, it would be. But remember how much like responsibility and how much work
Right.
went into this was like. Of course, I wouldn't be a parent, and if I could go back to that point, you know.
Right.
But now it's
Yeah.
just like, well, now I am, so I'm gonna freaking do my best at it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. I mean, and honestly, I feel like probably once you have a kid, then it's not as scary as it seems. But just for me
no,
right
but
now,
it's yeah. I mean,
I'd be terrified, dude.
you gotta get a girl first.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too. But like, I mean, I could get someone pregnant, but like, I don't want to, you know.
Yeah,
And
but I mean, that's the thing, dude. It's like I think that that's like something that a lot of men don't take, like they can't tend to take for granted. It's like they could get a woman pregnant real easy, but think
oh
about
yeah,
that. You throw her life, just like through a freaking loop,
yeah, and
which
well,
is
and
why
then
you
yeah,
gotta be
they're the ones that
careful.
have to. They're the ones that
They're
have
the
to
ones that
squeeze
got to
it
deal with
out.
it for 9 months, and then the next 20 years. Like,
Exactly. Yeah,
how many men are just like, I'll just go to work and not deal with my
I'm
kids.
out, this bitch.
I'll have them on weekends.
Exactly. Well, that's why I was wondering, like, if you were planning for it, because that's kind of, dude. If I
Yeah, I
got
mean, no, I
married,
would not do it that early, but like,
I'd be
I mean, and
scared.
there's like, there is a part of me that like misses like when the relationship was just us, right?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
now it's just like, well, we can't just go on dates, go out
Exactly.
there for
Yeah.
fun because like you got to find somebody to watch the baby, and when you
Take
got a
care of
kid,
kid.
you're constantly thinking like, oh, I gotta get back to him. He's gonna be upset, or he's gonna need, they're not gonna be able to handle him. We gotta get back to him right
Exactly.
away. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, even with like, I've got two different family members which would be happy to watch him for us,
Hmm.
but it's just like,
Still responsibility.
it scares me. I it's still like something that's on the back of my mind, and like
Hmm.
it's like, okay, let's get back to him
Right.
as quick as possible. Maybe
Yeah.
that'll
It's your
change
kid.
after a few years, but
Yeah.
I
Just be
mean
like,
that's the
let the
thing,
kid
right?
be. They'll be fine.
Once he's like 4 or 5 years old, he would love to stay at grandma's house. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. But
Like,
then you
how
got the other
exciting that
kid to
is as
worry
a
about.
kid. They're just like, Mom and Dad are letting me stay at grandma's house. Like, yes,
Oh
that's right,
yeah.
letting
That's
you.
make it seem like a reward. That's
Yeah, yeah. It's just like, then they
what you
grow a
gotta do.
teenager and they're like, oh, that's why they did it.
Kids are stupid, man. And some of my favorite content on YouTube is kids falling and
Yeah, I
kid
mean, dude, like
fails
toddlers
and
are
shit.
crazy.
They're
It's
so
like I've
dumb.
watched my kid just yeet himself toward the stairs, and it's
Yeah,
just like, no.
they think they're invincible, and they kind of are. They just kind of
I mean,
bounce, but
he's
like,
he's usually pretty careful. Like for a long time, he wouldn't walk because he was afraid of falling down, which was it's a good trait to have in a kid, right?
yeah.
Because like
What's the genders of your kids? Like, what do you
they're
have a
both
boy? Two
boys,
boys? Okay.
two
Ooh,
sons. Yeah,
that's gonna be
Silas and Ross.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I feel
But
like a girl would be easier to take care of. I don't know.
you know what? The funny thing is, because we had both of them at a home birth,
Hmm.
and the midwife this time, we didn't know the gender this time. We didn't find out beforehand,
Oh,
and
it's
so
a
but
surprise.
she saw the ultrasound, so she knew what it was. And so as
Oh,
the baby was coming out, she's like, "Healthy baby girl," and I was like, "Oh, I guess it's a girl." You know, she used it
debated.
as a she. She used the term she, and it's
Right.
like, "Oh, I guess
And
it's a
you're
girl."
like,
She'd
oh,
know, right? But
yeah.
and then
She,
it comes out and it's like, and I got a glimpse, and I was just
you're
like,
like,
"That's not a
it
girl.
has a
That ain't a
penis.
girl."
What
Yeah,
is this new
I saw
gen?
some nuts.
I saw
I
some
saw
nuts,
some
man.
nuts in there.
Once you see the nuts, you know. Yeah, I don't know.
But like, and I was
Kids
just
have a
like,
lot of
she's like, let
responsibility.
me make sure this is a girl. No, it is not a girl.
You
Most definitely not.
know what I've
No, but
heard?
like,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, well, I was just saying, like, it's like, I feel like, brothers can get along pretty well because, like,
That's true.
they
That's
think
true.
similar. At least there won't be that fight until until it's like me and my older brother, where it was just
Hmm.
like he got to the age where he was like wanting to go off on his own, and he was just like, I want to make
Right.
friends without Vinny being
Without
involved.
you.
Yeah, yeah, and that's
Exactly.
how Joe and I kind of became inseparable, was because he was
Right.
there to rebound me.
Right. Right.
He was
He was
always
the
kind of the
rebound
annoying
brother.
one tagging along, but then when Luke was like, I want to go be my own person, which totally get. But it was just like at that
Yeah.
point, it was just like, oh, okay, I guess me and
It
Joe will
is.
hang out now.
It is weird. The sibling dynamics are very interesting because for me, like I was really close to my two younger brothers, but the rest of it, like then my parents had three girls, and I just kind of
Mm.
wasn't really close to them at all. Then they had another girl
Yeah.
and then another boy, so it kind of
How?
switched
What's the
all.
age gap there between you and your sisters?
Sisters, I was 8 when my
Okay,
oldest
so at
sister was
least eight
born.
years between
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
between the oldest or the oldest one.
yeah, and the
Yeah,
gap
I would
between.
have been old when my um fourth third brother. Yeah, it was the third one. It's the
Mhm.
fourth kid in total, but yeah.
Right.
Um, Jeremiah was born. He's the one that runs the Minecraft server I play on Tuesdays on
Oh,
Twitch.
oh hell yeah.
But yeah, he's gotten so quirky, dude. He wears like Renaissance clothing.
Oh, like some
He
hippie
loves that
shit.
kind of
Like,
stuff. Well, like no, like steampunk, a lot of
oh, I
piratey
see.
stuff.
Ah,
It's pretty cool clothing, but it's
got
just
the
like,
drip.
man, you showing up on a to work, because I work with my dad on weekends sometime doing like
Right.
construction stuff, and it's just like, how are you gonna relay a floor
Yeah,
in your long coat?
in a trench coat.
You're gonna ruin your good clothes. But
Opens up the trench coat. He's got a
yeah,
bunch of tools.
it's that age where like you want to be different, and
Yeah,
I get that.
dude.
I mean,
People.
I
I
was
had such
different
a.
already, so I didn't need any work,
Yeah,
man.
I had such an identity
I don't know how
crisis.
that came from. Yeah, I mean, like I remember, were you like this as a kid? Because I didn't really get along with anybody at like youth group or like
Mhm.
young adult place. Even like here recently, last year on the podcast when I first started, I was going to a Bible study every week, and I
Mhm.
ended up telling Jana I don't want to do this anymore. Like
Right.
it's not that I don't like these people. I'm just not like them,
You didn't
and I
feel
can
it.
tell like I don't clash with them because like they were talking about like the church isn't the way God meant it to be because God wanted the church to be open to new people coming in, and then me being like the naive new atheist that I am, being like,
Right.
well,
Yeah.
actually, the original church was very closed off. That's why people thought it was a cult because you listen into these meetings, they're talking about eating the blood of Christ
Oh
is like
yeah.
cannibals,
Oh
and they're just
yeah.
like, okay, yeah, Vinny, you're going against everything we're trying to teach here. Why don't you shut the
Right.
hell up?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like especially in
And
like church
you feel bad
gatherings.
because I was ruining their the whole point they were trying to make by
Yeah.
making a legitimate like historical thing. And this wasn't something I read on Liberalpedia.
No, it's just
This
common
was a
knowledge.
Christian church history book I read.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and it
It's
was just
common
like I thought it was
knowledge.
so fascinating because it's like, oh, the Romans weren't complete dicks. They actually had a reason to be suspicious
Oh yeah.
of the new Christians that were popping up, but that doesn't quite fit with the whole narrative they wanted to go with. So,
Exactly.
that's yeah. But were you like that? Did you have
Uh,
trouble as a younger,
I
adult
think
slash teenager?
it definitely became like super obvious to me like when I started questioning a lot of stuff and kind of had started having different beliefs. But for a long time, like I was a hardcore Christian, like until probably I was 19. Like pretty soon after I turned 19, I started questioning things. But up until
Mm-hmm.
19, I was like, oh yeah, like I love God. But I was always kind of like my personality is like very like
Mm-hmm.
carefree. Like I really don't care about a lot of
Right.
things. So
Yeah.
for me, it was like going to church and youth group. It was more of like just meeting like meeting people and being friends. So I was kind of always like amongst as far as you can be popular like amongst Christian groups. I was like a like popular kid, but like I was
Right.
always doing things, especially when I was young. Like I would just do things for attention, like just stupid shit. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like the
Yeah.
clown, basically like just do dumb shit. But
Yeah.
then when I started like changing perspectives, like now if I go there, I just stay quiet because yeah, like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
they
Same.
know
Because
kind of
yeah. Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
pretty
I mean,
obvious that I've
yeah.
changed a lot, but
That's
like
kind of how I was out. It was just like you could tell he's not interested in all
yeah,
going to church.
exactly.
Just like I wrote most of like my lyrics for my first album. I wrote them during church
Oh
services
yeah, you got
because
your
it was just
song.
like things that would like come up with, and I was like,
Hmm.
I'd write down lyrics on my phone, and
Yeah.
that was most of what I did. Like the first year of marriage when Jan and I were kind of like figuring out what we were
Hmm.
going to do.
Right.
Um, that was an interesting time because it was just like
Ooh, that's a.
because I'd looked forward to getting married for so long. We'd been
Oh yeah.
dating for I think about 3 years before we got married, and so
Right.
that was something I was looking forward to for so long that I didn't know what I was going to do next. Right,
Right.
everything I
Right.
did was for
After
that
that.
moment, and all of a sudden I didn't know what I was going to do next. So she kind of encouraged me to start writing songs because I wrote one for her, and she was like, "That's good.
Oh
You ought to write more." And so
yeah.
I did.
I mean, if that's a
And
passion, go for it.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
You used to rap, didn't you? A little bit.
Kind of
Play
like I
around
would
with
do
it a little bit.
covers. I could
Yeah.
definitely rap, and like music is something I think I'd like to do. But just like a lot of things, like when I do some, I want to do it like really good, and
Mm-hmm.
so like I'll get like really focused on one thing for a while, and I just never really like put myself into it. So I just never
Yeah.
really have motivation or
Yeah. I
feelings
mean,
to
that's a
do it
common
at all.
trait in ADHD. You
Oh
know,
yeah, yeah,
wanting to try a whole
my
bunch of new hobbies and then being
yeah.
frustrated you can't do it good enough.
Yeah, it's just I would rather instead of try something and fail, just not try it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
like I'm very focused on like success, but like at the same time, like in my life, I'm not. I don't give a shit. But about things I give a shit about, then I actually really try, and it's like really annoying to me if I can't do it
Mm-hmm.
right. You
Yeah.
know, so I just
Yeah.
music is
I
one of those
mean,
things I never really tried.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what frustrates me. Like this song I put out recently, Dear God. I love the song. I feel like it's really good, but I don't like how it turned out. I don't like my voice on it.
Oh,
I don't like the beat kind of gets it, the tempo's not quite right on a lot of it. And it
mhm.
frustrates me because I want it to be perfect. I want to be
Right,
perfect,
right,
but you got to do this so many times and be terrible to get to
exactly.
where
Yeah,
you can be good. And so many
that is
things are
true.
like that. And
That is
I
true.
think that's the other difficult thing about being an adult is because all of
Hmm.
a sudden you're expected to be good at stuff
Oh yeah. Oh
because
hell,
you're
dude,
getting paid.
that was a
If
big
you're
that was
not
a
getting
big
paid, you don't do it.
transition.
Yeah,
I had no idea what I was doing when I moved out.
yeah,
I basically got kicked out, but at that time
mhm,
I'd already had a job and I was self sufficient, so I was able to move out on my own. But ever since then, it's been just all me, like figuring out
right,
bills and how to do
yeah.
things. Like it's so much, dude. I hate adulting.
It's so like there's so much to it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Because you like as a kid, you like see a little bit of this, but like you become that when I was getting closer, I was just like, there's so much to this, dude. Like trying to find a house,
Right.
that was so stressful. I mean, I remember being like in between lunch break at work, calling banks, trying to figure
Oh
out
yeah.
how I could like get some kind of loan because rent
Exactly.
is ridiculous out
It's a
here.
lot.
It's ridiculous.
It's
I
a lot
pay
everywhere.
less for mortgage on the house I own. This is
Damn.
1600 about 1600 square feet, which is not a bad size house at all.
That's not bad.
I pay about 996 a month on mortgage about on it.
That's not bad.
Rent for this place would probably be 2400.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so
It.
and it's like really the hard part is getting the banks to give you the money. And
Yep.
fortunately, I've been working for the same company for 4 years, so it's just like, hey,
That's a good
got a
thing.
record. They like
Right.
me, so they'll vouch for me. You
Exactly.
know, that's the
Well,
thing.
because I don't have any credit because I never
Right? Yeah,
took out any loans or
that
anything.
sucks.
I
Yeah,
bought
yeah.
my car cash, so like I
Mm-hmm.
don't have. It's I try to like sometimes I'll run into like finance. Like right now, I'm trying to deal with a lot of courts and shit, and it's so fucking stressful because I don't know if I'll be able to afford it all. I can't afford a
Right.
lawyer or anything, and so like
Mm-hmm.
trying to get a loan out, I can't get a loan because I
Mm.
don't have any
Yeah,
credit.
yeah, yeah. That's not. Yeah, that's a difficult thing is trying to gotta have money to make money,
Exactly. Yeah. Or you
and
have
like
to spend money to be
yeah,
able
you
to
gotta have to
spend money.
spend money to be able to spend more money.
Yeah. To
And
be
it's like
like,
you
oh, yeah,
just keep
you can.
going on, dude. And like it's like, and especially now because I bought this house new construction,
Mhm.
so like the basement isn't finished. I finished this room here all by myself. This
Oh,
was
yeah.
all me, except I had a little bit of
Damn.
help from my father-in-law. He came in this part right here. I was
Yeah.
having a terrible time trying to frame that in, so he just showed up and
Ah.
like they were visiting, and
Yeah.
he helped me do that, and then yeah, I did everything else I did myself, including the
That's
money, which
nice.
looks good in most places. There's a couple spots that don't look at, but
Yeah. Ignore.
yeah, the rest of the basement I want finished. The yard has no grass. I planted grass, but it was like end of the
Uh,
season, so I don't know if it's gonna make it come spring.
it probably
It's
will.
not
Grass is
looking
pretty
good. It's
resilient.
possible, but like I don't know if it established enough because the first frost happened about a week after I planted it.
Right.
So and it's frustrating because like I want to do everything right, right? Like I want to like
Hmm.
this yard I'm finishing the yard. I want to make it look nice. I want to make it look
Right.
really good, and uh, and I can't afford to do that
Oh, not
with
like this.
even though I'm an electrician, I should be rich. You
Yeah.
look at union wages; they're like, oh, if you're an
Oh,
apprentice, you
yeah.
start at $20 an hour. Yeah, well,
Oh,
you start
yeah.
out here. If you've had your schooling, you start at 12. If you haven't gone to school
What
yet,
the
you start
hell?
out at 11.50.
I always thought electricians got a lot, but maybe it is just the unionized ones because there's like really no
Out here
unions.
in Rapid, it's really bad
Yeah.
because there's so many companies.
Oh yeah.
And basically the biggest company has gotten a monopoly to where they'll bid
Mm,
super high for jobs they have to travel for outside of the main cities, but inside cities like Rapid, they'll
right.
underbid or do it at cost in order to keep costs low and to take the jobs
Right.
from other contractors. So
Oh,
essentially, in order to be competitive, you can't pay your electricians very much,
that's
which is
crazy.
ridiculous, man. I mean,
That's why we need unions, bro. Like
you really
union
do. Like I
unionization
keep
is really
saying that,
important.
and like everyone's just like, no, union's bad. Union's bad,
I
boy.
don't know. It honestly, it's either right wing politicians or people that already have a lot of money. They don't want
Right.
like the big big
Yeah.
corporations that
Well,
just
it's so
don't want.
weird though to see like people that don't have anything for money.
Oh
But they're
yeah,
still vouching for these ideas that go against them. It's just like
yeah.
the
It's I
liberal
mean,
policies are the ones that would benefit
it's
you the most.
it's brainwashing.
Do
It's a
you
lot of
not
brainwashing.
understand like the class struggle? I
Yeah,
mean, I'm more of a leftist than a liberal,
yeah.
just
I
because I
I'd say
mean,
I'm just
whatever your
yeah.
policies line up, it's that's a whole thing, right? It's just like
Hmm.
I was a more liberal person before I even became an atheist.
Oh yeah, me too.
Like
Yeah,
when it came to like policies regarding like LGBTQ people, when it
yeah.
came to like the whole right thing. I think that's kind of part of what woke me up was seeing how like it's like, well, Trump is not the person you guys said he
Oh
was, but
yeah,
you're still backing him. Am
yeah.
I
They
a
have to.
cult?
Yeah, no, dude. The Trump supporters are some of the craziest fucking people out there, dude. I don't know, like especially hardcore MAGA supporters. Like
Yeah.
you talk to them, they have insane ideas.
Mm,
And I knew for a
yeah.
fact when this COVID shit happened that they'd all be against it.
Hmm.
Like it's just how
Yeah.
it is. Like you can
Yeah.
it's a pattern and it's a party. All the political systems in
Mm,
America are corrupt. Even on the left, I
yeah.
hate the left a lot of times too, just because
I
they're
know,
stupid.
dude. It sucks because I need to back my team, right?
Yeah,
Because I
I'd
don't want
say
them overturning. I don't want to see the Supreme Court overturn Roe v. versus Wade, which is what
right.
they've kind of started doing in Texas, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to see this kind of stuff happen. But like,
Oh,
then I have
Texas
to
is
go
wild.
defend. Then I have to go defend Joe Biden, not because I like him, but because I
No,
need my
dude.
team to win so that they have the numbers to do anything, and then they don't do
Yeah.
anything.
No, they don't do shit, and that's why like I'm proud.
Uh,
Like I proudly will say I think Biden's stupid too. I'd rather have
yeah, yeah,
Biden, but he also has done a lot of stupid shit too. I
yeah.
just say
I
like I'm a
know.
progressive and
Yeah,
progressing society because
yeah,
that's kind of what we need. Hopefully the younger
yeah.
generation is smarter than all these 95,
God, I hope so.
105-year-old
God, I hope so.
politicians.
Every now and then, yeah, every now and then. Like if I talk to you, I'm like, maybe the younger generation has what it
Yeah,
takes. But then
yeah.
I talk to somebody else who's like, man, I just love Jesus, and you got to do things
What?
God's way. Otherwise, things just don't work out, and that's why gay people need to go to hell.
Yeah, dude,
And it's just like, well, maybe we are screwed.
around here, it's. I think that the country, like a lot of it, yeah. The majority of people are way more understanding, but the problem is, it's set up in America that the minority, control. Like they don't want the majority
Yeah.
controlling the
Hmm.
minority, which is how
Hmm.
kind of America was set up from the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's we're kind of fucked because no matter how long, like how many progressives and like more I guess understanding people there are in the laws of the country, it'll always be like we'll have things like the electoral college, we'll have like
Hmm.
trying to gatekeep who can vote and things like that. So I mean
Right.
it'll always be controlled for a long time at least by
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
stupid
I mean, that's
politicians.
yeah. That's what's frustrating to see somebody like someone like the way that like somebody like Bernie Sanders or AOC is treated by the like
Yeah,
the
oh
liberal
yeah,
like CNN. Supposedly they're all
wild.
socialists, but then you have a legitimate person who's backing socialist policies, and they're
Yeah,
like Joe Biden won Nevada. We're screwed. We can't have Joe Biden. And that was CNN. That was
exact
CNN,
dude.
dude. And they were so scared of it. It's like why? Why
Yeah,
can't we have something different? We
exactly.
had a black guy as president.
That
Anything
was
can happen.
I mean, dude, it'll be really
If we can get
crazy.
a black president in America of all places, we should be able to do pretty good.
I think honestly, like, yeah, it's a lot of eye service, like just saying the right things for your party so you get votes from one
Right?
side or the
Yeah.
other. Like,
Yeah.
because honestly, Trump is not a Republican. He's just running
No.
as a Republican because
Yeah. Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
the
And
voter
like
base.
just like his whole thing where let's go get these protesters. Go gas them so
Yeah,
that I can
gas them
go
up.
hold the Bible in front of this church. You think he's read the Bible? You think he cares at all about the Bible? He's just doing this as lip service to the people who
Oh
voted
yeah,
for him,
Trump doesn't give a shit.
which makes sense. That's what you do as a
It's
politician.
it's a
But it's just
popularity
frustrating to
contest.
see people so married to the idea that
Yeah,
he's somehow on their side.
yeah. I
I
think
don't know what they're thinking.
it causes a
I
lot
mean,
a lot of problems.
yeah, I mean, like, shucks, dude. I remember talking to my dad after the election. He was just like, well, you go out on the streets and you talk to anybody, most of them will say they think the election was rigged. That's got to mean
Well, yeah,
something, right?
it's because
And
we
it's
live in
just
the
like,
Midwest.
yeah, it does mean something. It does
Yeah,
mean something, just not what you're trying to say.
yeah.
And I don't know. My dad and I, we don't have too many conversations about this kind of thing because, like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm mostly just like, if it goes into this area,
Oh
I'll just
yeah,
kind of like, let's direct it down a different path.
that's what you have to do.
Let's bring it somewhere else. Just like when he was one of the first things he said when he was talking to me about my whole atheism, and I was trying to kind of explain to him, was like the 2 points he kind of made was the one of them was well, how you it wasn't like one of them was the kind of the same thought process of like, well, how is everything here? So that means has to mean
Mhm.
somebody started it, right? And I was like, well, it doesn't have to mean somebody, and it also doesn't mean you're somebody. But also,
Exactly.
he's
That's
saying
the
like,
biggest
he's
thing.
saying, so you think that after you're dead that you just stop existing? And I was like, well,
Maybe.
that's the way it was before I was born.
Yeah,
And that's the
exactly.
thing. I
Yeah.
don't want to. I don't want to use these. Like, I've studied a lot of, like, I guess you call them atheist apologetics,
Yeah.
but just because I felt the pressure to do that, and
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm more comfortable calling myself an atheist and an agnostic, which I know you call yourself an
Yeah.
agnostic, and I think that's a good, at least that's a good starting point. I mean,
Yeah.
shucks, Carl Sagan was a genius. He I think he referred to himself as an agnostic, and
Yeah.
like Carl Sagan said, there's nothing wrong with not making a stance on something that you don't have any evidence regarding.
Right. Yeah. I
Just
would
like
say
aliens. Why make a
exactly.
gut decision when I don't know? I think we have no information for that. We
Exactly.
can make a probability clause, which is the same kind of thing I do for God, but like,
Right.
it's like at a certain point, it's just like you don't have enough information to make a case either way.
Right.
But
Exactly.
unlike
No one knows for
aliens,
sure.
where we could, like, there is like a physical thing you could approve. It's like
Exactly.
there
We
is,
can find out
eventually we'll
eventually.
know for sure that there isn't life on
Exactly.
Mars,
Yeah.
which I think
Eventually we'll find
probably there
out.
isn't. But like, that's something that can be you know
Tested.
disproven, where you like you can't prove a
Verifiable.
negative. And yeah, and so that's why, like, I don't, if I say I'm an agnostic, sometimes that can give people the idea of like, well, maybe I can talk him into it. He's on the fence. It's like
True.
not
Yeah.
what
No.
that
No. No.
necessarily means. There's grades to this, dude. There's a
Exactly.
spectrum. Whereas
What?
if I say I'm an atheist, then they'll be like, most of them will just be like, well, I better get out of here. This guy's going
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
hell.
This guy's crazy. He's wild. He's got no hope at all. So like what I say to like a lot of people is I just tell them, yeah, like I'm an atheist. But
Mhm,
if it comes up and be like, do you know
mhm.
for a fact there's no God? I'll just be like, no, I don't, because for me, like I'm not like hardcore like no, there's no God at all. But all the ones that have been like proposed and people say there are, I just don't find evidence for it, so I don't believe him.
Yeah,
So at this
yeah,
time, I don't
and
believe in any God.
yeah,
If,
yeah,
if
and
someone can
I
prove it
think
to
that's
me,
the
do it.
most logical, like, point to place yourself as,
Yeah,
right? Because
because then you're open
freaking,
and you don't have a lot of like biases or preconceived ideas. And obviously,
right,
I have some. Everyone has some, but like way less than people
hmm,
that are just shutting
yeah,
out all other
yeah,
explanations
yeah,
because they have to believe it. Like it's
yeah.
so
That's
much
why
to
I've kind
let
of
go.
like, I like the term skeptic to describe
Yeah,
myself,
yeah.
because
Like be
like it
skeptical of
just,
things.
it's
Even
the opposite of
scientific.
a believer.
Exactly.
It's like
Yeah.
someone who's just skeptical about these kind of things. I
Right.
like the term free thinker as well, but that's
Mhm.
kind of fallen under some
It could be a lot of different things.
categories, right? I really want to. I might start this when I start going to School of Mines. I really want to start like a local skeptic society of some
Dude,
sort,
yeah. Yeah, you
because
should.
like I would love to know if there are other people that think the same kind of the same
Yeah.
way. And there's nothing. Like, I found like a couple like references to like,
Mhm.
there used to be a free thinkers group at School of Mines. It doesn't exist now. I looked at their
Right.
database. It's not there anymore, which probably the person who ran that graduated. They went on, and
Right.
but I might start my own group at the
You
school and then extend that to like afterwards. People who
Is
stay here
your
can
city,
have a
is it more
say.
of like a conservative area, or is it more of like a liberal city?
It's definitely conservative. I don't know
Okay,
if
that might be
there's a
part of it.
spot in South Dakota which is
That's,
at all liberal. I
that's
mean,
true.
like, what is it like? Maybe 20% of the population is
Yeah,
at
I
all
think I
liberal.
think it's a lot of it is like the older generation though, because like okay, for
Yeah.
me, like I live in a city. It's pretty shitty. Like it's honestly very
Hmm.
shitty, and so it's a lot more of just like meth heads and like people that
Right.
don't really give a shit. So with that comes
Hmm.
just like a lot of fucked up lives, obviously, but
Yeah.
also just a lot of people that don't give a shit. And so like all
Yeah.
the young people that I meet, no one's really hella religious, but I know for a fact, like in other like Sioux Falls is a little bit more like that. Omaha's
Hmm.
pretty liberal for the most part. You get to like the bigger cities, but you go to the small towns, they're all Trump
Yeah.
supporters, older
Right.
people that just they get all their information from one place and they don't know what the fuck is
Hmm.
going on. So
Yeah. Yeah.
very bigoted, and
I mean, yeah,
that's
that's
kind of
it's
how it
pretty
is.
similar out here. There's like pockets of people, like
Yeah.
a place in town here that I've played at a couple times, done a couple gigs, called the
Hmm.
Cave Collective.
Oh
They
yeah.
are one of the few the kind of hot spots for like LGBTQ people.
Oh
They'll have
yeah.
drag shows there.
Right.
They're a
Hell yeah.
what would you call it? An all inclusive kind of group.
Yeah.
They
Dude, that shit would
they're
never
open
fly
to.
here. I mean, we have some, but we don't have any gay
You
clubs
meant
or anything at
yeah,
all. In
yeah,
Omaha,
yeah,
there's some wild ones, and those are fun. But like
yeah.
here, it's literally just
It's got to be like
bars.
underground. There's one I heard
Yeah.
of from the Midwest in this book. It's a great book. It's called Real Queer America.
Oh
It
yeah.
was written by this, I believe this is by a trans lady. Um,
Oh.
and she kind of was talking about, essentially she's like, I'm doing a road trip across right wing America, and I'm
Ooh,
stopping at all the hot spots for the gays.
that's gonna be
But
fun.
like there's one that's like, it's like it was beforehand, like you go 10, 20 years ago, this was like you had to go to a back alley to get to it.
Oh yeah.
You knew what it was because there was a picture, there was like a graffiti on the alley
Right.
of Daffy Duck dressed in drag.
Oh. Hey,
And
hey, hey,
that was how
hey.
you go down that alley. And yeah, it's so interesting. It kind of reminds me of like old school Minecraft in the sense of like you got to have the insider scoop to get into these kind of places, and that just doesn't exist
Facts.
anymore with the internet.
Yeah, and
You
I
know,
think that does help a lot. That helps a lot
yeah,
for
internet kind
any.
of like opens up, and it almost kind of helps normalize this, right?
Yeah,
Because like
exactly.
now when I say I'm an atheist, people don't freak out,
They
right?
don't give a shit. Yeah,
No, but no cops are just like, better keep an eye on that boy. I bet he's
exactly.
smoking, he's
Yeah,
smoking dope.
he's doing something bad, for a fact. But yeah,
He's
like,
eating babies in there. If you don't believe in
oh
Jesus, he ate
hell yeah,
babies
they smoke.
infamously.
Yeah, they sip their baby blood. Yeah, it's kind
Whereas
of
now,
wild.
yeah, people are more understanding, and like they
Mhm.
may not agree, but at least they aren't afraid of new
Yeah.
ideas. Although I have heard some like interesting conversations from my
Oh yeah.
coworkers. They're like, being gay is a choice. He's like, are we really still on that? Is this the 90s?
It's the Midwest, dude. I think like here, especially like the Midwest, like everything affects it slower. It's
Yeah.
still like the
I mean,
most
yeah,
conservative states. Like
right.
it's just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. People like don't
Hmm.
really use internet as much. Like that's why
Yeah.
the younger generation around here like doesn't
Yeah.
give a shit, because on the
I mean,
internet
again, yeah.
you say a lot of these things that the people are saying, and you're gonna be made fun of so much, and as you should be. But there's still a lot of think tanks and echo chambers in.
Hmm. Yeah.
Facebook is a huge one. Facebook has just
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
become
Oh, yeah.
the misinformation center.
Yeah. I feel like part of it is right, is just like I had to you gotta learn like to understand the whole concept of like, especially like transgender, that whole idea of gender nonconformity, or
Mhm.
even like what's the term they use a lot?
Non-binary.
Dysphoria. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the
Gender
term for that whole
dysmorphia.
kind of concept. That's not like grade school level stuff, right? Like we can explain it pretty easily to
Yeah,
kids.
it's
But I
easy.
mean, like this isn't like this whole concept of like, well, what's the difference between biological gender and gender as a social construct, and well, how does that work in like
Yeah,
the genes, the brain structure, blah blah blah. You know, there's a lot to it, And so I understand
Yeah.
that a lot of people hear that and like they just get freaked out because
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to say, oh, boys have dicks, girls have bags.
Exactly. Exactly.
Don't mess with my
I
don't mess
think
with my grade school biology.
right. I think a very easy way to describe it, like, okay, so obviously, like in nature, there's we have naturally born, assigned birth or whatever.
Yeah.
But a very easy way to describe it is like me, even growing up, I always like was more on the feminine side. Like
Hmm.
I'm not, a big alpha male,
Right. Yeah.
going out in the
I'm
country
going
and
hunting.
shit. Yeah, going hunting, like, big muscles. Like I'm more of like the feminine side. I've always connected more with females and just like talking in general.
Hmm.
So I'm more of like on the spectrum. I'm more towards the female side. I still
Yeah.
identify as a dude, but like
Right. Yeah.
it's right there in front of people. Like if you
Hmm.
look at any, I've seen, you look at some females and that have dicks and they're hot. Like they're hot. You don't have to fuck them. You can just
Yeah.
say they're
Yeah. I
hot,
mean,
and
yeah.
that because it's literally we see someone from across the bar, we immediately assume their gender. That's
Right.
normal.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
someone looks like a female, I'm gonna think they're a female. I
Yeah.
don't give a
Yeah. I
shit.
mean, if they correct you, it's like freaking,
And
yeah,
then yeah, I don't give a shit either. Like I'm
respect what they want to be referred to as. It's the same as
exactly.
like, when they, the dead naming people. It kills me how many like freaking people just like insist on referring to like
Oh,
what's that
yeah.
one infamous one? What's her name? The transgender girl that's like was one of the first big ones. Um,
Caitlyn
Caitlyn
Jenner,
Jenner.
Caitlyn
Yeah,
Jenner. Yeah,
yeah. How many people still be like they'll emphasize like he, and it's just
exactly.
like
Yeah,
what are you doing, man? It's like you
yeah,
have to correct yourself at this point. It's been so
right.
long, but you still do it out of just stubbornness.
Exactly. And
Um,
even if someone doesn't do all the surgery and they just like to cross
right.
dress or something like, and they
Hmm.
prefer to be used a certain pronoun, I don't give a shit. Like
Hmm.
it might be hard to get used to a little bit, and like right now I'm talking to someone who's non-binary, so it's kind
Right.
of it's a little different getting used to calling them they, but like
Yeah.
I don't give a shit if that's what
Yeah.
you feel like, then that's okay. And
Yeah.
I know
And
most
I mean,
people will probably
yeah.
assume they're a female, but they
Hmm.
don't really identify with gender roles as much, so
Right. Yeah.
they would
Yeah.
rather
I mean,
just
I kind of sometimes just think of myself as gender non-conforming, but also
mm,
I don't care, and that's
yeah,
the reason
yeah,
why. Is like for all intents and purposes,
mhm,
I'm a male.
yeah,
But like I don't conform to like what you would normally think of a male as doing. I'm not that big into hunting. I'm not that big into
yeah,
like the whole manliness stuff.
exactly. Not the alpha sigma male
You know.
fucking bullshit
I like
that.
yoga just as much as any white woman.
Yeah, I really like you can watch.
I
I'll
mean,
watch.
yeah, it's something that a lot of people like, have a hard time wrapping their heads around, and I understand that.
I
But at the
understand it.
same time, it's like, if we could take a position of kind of understanding rather than getting angry every time we see
Right,
somebody that's like,
and I
that's
don't
not a
know.
woman.
I like how I think probably a lot of their biggest problems for some reason it's always the bathrooms. And
Hmm.
like, dude, I mean, okay,
If I'm going to the bathroom, I just want to poop.
yeah, like,
I'm not here.
okay, if you're in the bathroom, are you really like looking over like to look at people's
Yeah,
junk and
yeah,
shit?
and
I
like,
understand like it's like, oh,
yeah,
my kids are going in there, but also at the same time, if your kids can be affected in so many other ways. There's not
yeah. Well, a man could go into
transgender.
a boy's restroom
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you
Yeah. What
sexually
about that
assault
dude?
them. He's
Like
like,
this
that's
shit's gonna
he's just like
happen.
that South Park episode. It's just like just because someone's gay doesn't mean they're gonna
Exactly.
assault boys. Straight men do that too.
Exactly. Oh yeah, straight men do that way more. Like straight men they're fucking
Yeah.
wild, and percentage wise, it's not that big of a deal at all. Like you can find a few cases,
No.
but
Yeah.
it's such a small, and they're picking such a small part of it that
Yeah.
it's insignificant. And the just the idea of like, yeah, like even
Yeah.
homosexuals are pedophiles or molesters and shit.
Right.
That's not, no, they're molesters or
Yeah.
rapists. That's the thing that's bad, not that what gender they prefer to fuck. Like they're just
Yeah.
kind of focusing on one thing and just ignoring
Yeah.
everything else. And they're
Yeah.
like,
It's
boom,
like it's
checkmate,
putting them into a
we
box,
got you.
being like, no, you don't understand. My problem isn't that they're attracted to men. My problem is that
Yeah, they're fucking kids.
they fuck boys.
That's the
And
bad
it's just
thing
like,
is that they fuck kids.
don't. This is
Yeah.
just
So it's, I mean, And it's been disproven so many times that
Yeah, I
it
mean,
doesn't
it's
cause mental
going back
problems
to
in
like that whole
guys.
hypocrisy thing is like just like Caitlyn Jenner talking about, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
let transgender girls in California
right.
compete in female
Hmm.
sports, and it's just like you did that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
competed
yeah, exactly.
in like the Olympics or something as a woman.
Yeah,
You
and even there
competed in
you can
women's
see
sports. What are you doing?
exactly like even there you can see the power of like a political side
Right?
because
Yeah.
I don't know if genuinely she believes that. I don't think she genuinely believes that, but
Don't
it's
I
a
doubt it. It's
but
just an
she's
opportunity
running
for us for her
as a
to to get elected. So
exactly.
many like actors like that and like
Oh yeah,
celebrities get
yeah.
involved in California politics.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I
that's
mean
how
it's
Reagan got his start. Was he was just
yep,
like, I'm an actor, but
exactly.
Bible, Bible, look at me,
Yeah,
Bible thumper.
Arnold
Yeah,
was the governor.
Schwarzenegger kind of did the same thing.
Was he governor
Which
of Texas?
he's at least he was the governor of California.
Oh, it was California. Shit,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, it
See,
was
exactly.
California. Yeah.
California is the perfect place for that shit.
California is like super liberal, except for every
Yeah,
about 10, 20 years, they're like, let's
yeah,
have a really Republican
yeah.
governor.
I
Let's
think,
actually undo the gay laws that we passed.
dude, it's such a big fucking mess. America's so
Such a
stupid.
weird place, and that's the thing. Like in California, it's kind of similar to even here. If you go outside of like the big cities, like you leave
Hmm.
Los Angeles, everyone there is listening to Republican talk radio,
Right,
conservative FNR, whatever. I don't know.
right. Yeah.
That's where freaking what's the guy's name that died? That big radio guy.
Oh,
Um,
Rush Limbaugh.
yeah, Rush Limbaugh got a
Rush
start
Limbaugh. Yeah.
on conservative radio there in
Yep.
California.
And dude, they
Being
make
like,
a shit ton of money doing that stuff
he
too.
did.
Even if
You
they
saw like
believe
all the
it.
cigars. He's like, "These don't give me cancer. No cancer.
I'm
Well, no
hoping up.
cancer.
It's
I'm
game for
dying of
shit.
cancer, but not this cigar.
It wasn't this. It was something
It
else.
wasn't this.
It's the
Only cigarettes do
huge,
that, and weed.
the huge
It
amounts
was the
of
weed. The gays gave me weed."
yeah, the gays, the huge amounts of crack cocaine I was doing. I don't know, dude. It's just stupid. We got very political. If you want to switch topics, we can, but I
I
don't mind.
mean,
I'll talk
shucks.
about
We
this
could,
shit a lot. But yeah, if you
it
just don't
happens
want
a
the
lot
whole
on this
podcast
podcast.
being
I'll be talking about something goofy. Next thing you know, it's been 40 minutes. But
yeah, no, you're
something I
good.
would like to talk about
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like you're back on Twitch, dude.
I
How
am,
long of a break did you have? Because I remember I kind
dude.
of like stalked you a little bit
Yeah,
during your kind of hiatus, and I was like,
yeah.
I wonder if Blur's still alive.
Yeah, a
I'm
lot of
Blur.
people. Honestly, it's kind of crazy the amount of people that thought I like died or something really bad happened
Oh yeah.
because I don't know. I just get in these a lot of times. Like I've always liked streaming and doing things,
Mhm.
but you have to put a lot of time in, and
Right. Yeah.
especially right after I moved out, I started like partying a lot
Mm.
and getting more into like the party scene and shit. So I'd never had time to stream or put any time in creatively. So I would just stream off and on, like whenever I was bored or like going through like a weird time where I just didn't want to see
Mhm.
anyone. So
Yeah.
like it's hard for me to balance like work and social life and streaming. So right now
Hmm.
though, like a lot more chill in life. Definitely not partying like I used to. So like
Yeah.
I have more time, so I'm trying to get back into it. And plus, I need the money. Like I honestly
Yeah.
need the money. And I got a pretty good check from Twitch, which blew my
Mhm.
mind. So I was like, you know what? I
Yeah.
can actually like make some money from this on the side.
Yeah. I mean,
I
you're
still
you're
enjoy
getting to
it.
the point. I feel like you're just a little over 100 followers, right?
Mm, I think
A
it's like
little over, right?
170 something right now.
170. Oh, you're coming up on that 200.
Yeah, but
Hundo.
the
Yeah.
crazy thing though is like I see like consistency is so important on Twitch though because there was times like even like a few months ago when I came back to it, like at first really no views or viewers at all, but
Mhm.
like streamed consistently like a certain certain days and
Right.
shit,
Yeah.
and I was getting up like 10 plus viewers already, only being back like a few weeks. So
Hmm.
for me, and I had like some fans and people that knew
Right.
about me from
Yeah.
before, obviously. But and then back when I was living with my parents, I was streaming very consistently. I would get up to like 30 viewers and shit, and that's when
Yeah.
I made okay money, not like a shit ton,
Hmm. Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
like $70 a month or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's definitely a viable way, but it takes a lot of consistency.
Hmm.
I just have to
Yeah.
be And a lot of
I mean,
times
like,
I just feel like just smoking and napping or something after I
yeah,
get off work.
yeah.
And so I don't feel like
I
doing
know, dude.
anything.
It's this year. Like every year, usually I'll get into a big like. This is where I'm productive. I'm gonna do all these
Right,
things this
right.
year, and then after about a month or two, I'll just be like, I'm
Yeah,
not accomplishing anything. I'm a failure.
yeah.
And then I'm just like, I'm just gonna put my head in the couch and sleep
Yeah.
after get off
Yeah.
work. But like, I mean, I kind of noticed like. It's very difficult, like, because I've started doing Twitch kind of off and on here this past year, and I'm really trying to kind of commit to it more here recently.
Right.
You know, especially if I'm quitting my job as an electrician and going back to school, then
Mm,
I'm gonna have more time. It's gonna be
right.
a lot more work because I'm gonna have a lot more like schoolwork along with.
Right.
I'm gonna do a lot more more uh, construction type stuff,
Hmm.
kind of more residential for remodeling houses and stuff. Essentially, is the kind of plan. But I'm thinking like, hey, I'll have more time to like have a space between where I could recover and then do a stream in the evenings because that seems to work best for me.
Hmm.
I don't know why. I remember I mean last year I forget exactly when this was. It was towards I think it was around October.
Hmm.
But essentially every Monday after I got off work, I would just I'd be streaming, and I started streaming Far Cry 3,
Oh,
that was a really good one for me because like
yeah.
I love that game and I'm decent at it.
Right, right.
So so that I can play through that one, and I found like quite a few new viewers and got most of my followers that I have right now. The
Right,
18 I have, like
right.
half of those were from that kind of series, but it
Hmm.
was always a new person every week. It was like a
Right.
new one person, and then
Yeah.
I didn't stream until the next Monday.
Hmm.
And so because of that, it kind of seemed to be like, I get person forget. Oh, I forget about you by the time
Yeah.
next stream comes around. And so it's very
Right.
difficult to like, I you gotta have like a lot of followers on Twitch to really have like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like you look at somebody like Matt Watson or Rubber Ross from Game
Right.
Grumps. He's not Grump anymore, but he was.
Right.
Or like
Oh, I love Matt Watson.
Alpha
I love
Rad.
Super
They
Mega.
have yeah, that's great, dude.
Super Mega is
See the hat I
probably
got
one of my
on?
favorite channels right
They're,
now. Oh shit! I can't really see it because it's a little pixely
it's
right
a
now.
Super
But
Mega NASCAR hat.
oh shit! Oh hell yeah!
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
NASCAR. That's
I
a good video.
I was wearing this hat at a. I was doing some work on electrical work at. They're doing a little bit of remodeling, or it was a remodel. It was actually a fire alarm for
Mhm.
a local Christian high school, and one of the younger
Oh,
kids. He looked like he was barely out of grade school. He's just like, "I love your hat, dude," and I
I
was like,
love
"I
Super.
hope you don't.
Yeah. Hopefully you don't know.
Hopefully you think this is a NASCAR hat and don't know Super. You're too young for that."
You might have just thought it was a NASCAR hat. That goes great
Could
around
have
here.
been.
You
It
know.
could have been. I mean, shucks. It looks.
They love the NASCAR.
I think. I think part of the reason why I connect with them so much is because so much of what they talk about is so familiar to me, as far as like
Mm-hmm.
Bio Belt America goes, because that's where they're
Mm-hmm.
from, and so they know that so well, and so it seems so familiar, so much
Exactly.
of that, and
Also, they're just
uh,
genuinely comedic
they're
geniuses.
hilarious.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
the
They're so good
dynamic
at
they have
everything.
is it's
I
really
gotta
good.
afterwards. I gotta send you an episode. It's pretty long, but it's an
Mhm.
episode of Brian Weck's podcast. He's
Oh, okay.
one of the Grumps.
Oh.
But yeah, he does a podcast with this other girl called Leighton Gray. The
Mhm.
podcast name is Leighton Night, and Matt Watson was on there for their 100th episode.
Oh,
And
hell yeah.
yeah, he has so many great moments
Yeah.
where like
Dude,
it's like
I'll
when I
listen to
hear
that.
something like that, it's just like, oh, you've had practice being funny, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's it's hard to just be funny, right?
Oh, yeah. It
Like
is
this
hard to be
podcast,
funny.
I come on here, I'm like, okay, be funny, be funny. But
Yeah.
legitimately, it's sometimes difficult to find the humor in things. I did
Yeah.
a segment on this show when I first started doing the podcast where I was like, let's go through the news and find the funnies. Oh, there's no funnies.
It's hard, dude. News is probably not the place to be looking for funnies, but yeah.
No, I quit doing that pretty soon because it's just like, this is just sad.
It is.
This
Comedy
is just
is
me
a
being sad.
comedy is like it takes a lot of different forms, and that's what's cool about it. I think a lot of people do try too hard. Like it's very obvious when someone's trying too hard. And when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I definitely tried too hard.
Oh, yeah. But
I
that's how
was
you
trying way too
learn.
hard. But that is
Yeah.
how I learned because then I learned like what works, what doesn't, and me being like wanting everyone to like me, just to have this weird obsession with everyone liking me.
Yeah.
Like I basically became the person that made people laugh, and you learn like what makes people laugh and
Yeah.
what doesn't. And so it's a skill that develops, but also you really
Mhm.
can't force it at all. And so
Yeah.
like I've learned. like just don't force it. Just be yourself.
Yeah,
Say shit
yeah,
that comes to your head. Things that you think are funny. Say them,
yeah,
or share it
yeah,
because
yeah.
other people similar
But
to
you
you.
also got to kind of know like your audience, so to speak.
True,
Because
that's
like there are
true. I
certain like
mean,
I've kind of bombed around coworkers before. They're just like,
mhm.
oh, that's not. We don't find that funny. And I was like,
Oh
that's
yeah, no,
all
you
right.
gotta. you
Yeah,
got-
but when there are certain things I know I can get laughs out of, most of them.
right, right. It is very. You gotta learn like who because a lot of people like when I first meet them, I don't like straight up just go into whatever but sometimes I don't give a shit if it's like at a if it's like at a party or whatever. I don't give a shit and I'll be myself. But a lot of people, yeah, don't always have the same sense of humor, and it's
Yeah,
just how
yeah. I
it
mean,
is,
the other thing is like so much of comedy is like you're expected to kind of be like stand up comedy kind of style, and
right.
like for what we do, that does not really work. You
No,
know,
yeah,
you can
you
use the
can
same kind of jokes, but like
exactly,
you
yeah.
gotta you
It's
gotta be more. I don't know. That's why I love doing streams where I can voice chat with people. Like I did
mm,
a Minecraft Christmas stream with all my brothers, but Joe was there, and Joe and I we go together real like even though we disagree on almost everything
right, right.
sociopolitically. Um, we work together comedically really well because we've
Mhm.
done it for so long that like we know the dynamic that we need, and
Right. Well, see, like I mean
sometimes
that's another
sometimes
thing,
I'll get
yeah.
a groan out of him if I do like a yo mama joke.
Yeah.
Where that's what she said. That's the ones
Yo,
that like
mommy.
really make him.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I mean, like it can depend, I guess, on the people's personality. But like for me, like,
Right.
I don't really care what people's political views are or things like
Hmm.
that, really. Because I
Yeah.
mean, like my best friend Katie, like I've been ever since I moved out. She was like the first person I started hanging out with, and like
Hmm.
we are basically the same exact person. But still, like her like family is very Catholic. She's
Right.
not at all like as aggressive, but she hears a lot of things that they say, and she's pretty much like anti-vax. Just because
Hmm.
of like what her grandma's, and she trusts her
Right.
grandma.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
me, we've had some conversations. I'm like, Katie, it's not how they tell you it is, and
Mm.
it's just misinformation. She doesn't really know. It's just things that she's heard, and so that's why she holds those beliefs. But it doesn't affect our friendship at all. Like we're still
Yeah.
hella
Yeah.
close.
I mean, I'm always surprised when I can like get together with someone I strongly disagree with and still have a fun conversation. It sometimes takes a little bit of work, but like, I mean, I think that's why like Joe and I work together so well is that
Yeah,
Joe's one of the few people that I can be completely honest with,
right,
and like even like things like he doesn't care that I drink, he doesn't
right.
which it kind of helps that I don't care that he smokes cigars,
Yeah, yeah.
but even though he's still Christian and everything,
Mhm.
very right wing. He likes Ben Shapiro, uh,
Oh, Ben
but
Shabibo,
yeah, it it
my
it kills me
favorite.
every time because I'm just like, you know, I was telling him about
Hypothetically,
like I don't understand. Like I was following him on Twitter because I thought it was funny, but then this was a couple years ago.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, I used to like Ben
but
Shapiro
the
too.
more I like read his tweets, I was just like, this guy's just stupid.
He's
Like
very
the one
stupid.
about rap music, it's just like I was talking to Joe about it. It's like,
Yeah,
what was his point? What does he try? What does he think he's saying? And just
that
like
urban
Joe was
communities.
saying, he's just like, I think what he's doing is just trying to. Sometimes he just tries to upset people, and it's like, okay,
Yeah,
what's the point of that? Like, why
exactly.
do
He
you say
said,
things which are racist and will upset
well,
people
it's
when
because it's
when
because his
people are
audience.
just gonna? I mean, I guess it's just it brings more attention to him,
It does, yeah, it
but
does. That's
so
another
much of
thing.
it is just through annoying liberals like me are just like, oh, let's slam down on Ben Shapiro's new tweet.
Yeah, yeah. It is like that. It gains a lot of clout and publicity, but at the
Yeah,
same
I mean that's
time,
why I kind of like stopped. I kind of try to stop name dropping Trump as much as I can. Like on
yeah,
Twitch, I'm like, maybe I'm just gonna ban these phrases from the chat because
yeah,
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to think about it.
right, and
People have
yeah.
already made up their mind at this point. So what's the point in having the
It
conversation,
doesn't.
right?
It doesn't even
At
matter.
a certain
You're not
point, I don't want to bring attention to a person. I don't want to continue to do that
right.
thing. Were you Protestant, by the way? I know you mentioned
Not
your
prop.
best friend is Catholic, but were you
Yeah.
any kind of Protestant religion? Not
I
religion,
don't.
demographic.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. Denomination. That's what I want.
Denomination. There we go. No. Okay. So growing up, it was a lot weirder. When or probably around like I was like 15, 16, my parents were a lot more chill, and we started going to different church. That's a lot more chill. But what I grew up in was the Holiness Church, And I don't know if you've heard about
Mm.
them, but the holiness
I
and
mean, I can pretty much figure it out by the term.
yeah, like they very weird ideas. Even
Hmm.
when I was like a kid in the church, a lot of things because my dad didn't really have the same beliefs a lot of times as them, but we would just
Hmm.
kind of conform with it because it was the
Right.
church. It was actually the church that dad like got saved in or whatever. So,
Hmm.
but they're very strict. So like um, skirts on the
Yeah.
females, no like short sleeves, no hair past like the collar, like a lot of really
Hmm.
weird rules. Just and every time I would go there, it was so like I feel so out of place because it's like so everyone's perfect, like literally the
Hmm.
whole
Yeah.
idea of holiness for them was that you could be sanctified and like God could do like some like and it was like they call it like second salvation. So basically like getting saved, but then you still have like the carnal nature that makes you want to
Yeah.
sin.
The sanctification.
Yeah, and then
That's
they
big
would
in Nazarene
you'd
churches as
be
well.
sanctified and you wouldn't want to
Hmm.
sin anymore or have any desire.
Right.
And
Yeah.
even as a kid, I was
Yeah.
like, the fuck? How? How are you supposed to
Yeah.
do that? That's like impossible. So
Yeah. Yeah.
basically what it
Especially as a
leads
kid, you're taught everything is a sin. It's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
oh,
Yeah.
Vinny, you spilled the ketchup.
No.
That's assault.
Oh, that's a lot of tomatoes lives went into that. That's abortion, that's murder. So like I don't know. So, but basically, what that would lead to is, and being older now and talking to a lot of people that have left that church, a lot of things were happening that I didn't realize that were happening in the church. A lot of molesters, people just because it was
Mm,
very, everyone put on this image of, oh, yeah, we're perfect because that's what
yeah.
we're supposed to be. So, a lot of things were shoved underneath the rug. People wouldn't
Mm,
talk about anything. I didn't know what sex was. I didn't know how it worked until I saw porn. Like, that's how, like,
yeah.
and I was very confused because it was
Yeah.
anal,
And
and
that,
I was like, "What is going on here?"
wait, that doesn't. Are we the same person, dude? Because I feel like I've lived this
Every dude,
exact experience. Because like we went to a
yeah,
Baptist church, we started going there, and my mom was just like, "I don't agree that like you need to wear skirts, but in
mm-hmm,
order to fit in, she started doing it. She started doing it
mm-hmm.
even like around the
You have
farm.
to,
Like, and it's so like so frustrating because it's just like
yeah,
it's clear that you don't agree with it. It's clear that you don't fit in here.
exactly, yeah,
And she still I feel bad because like she still tries to do that. She wants to
mm-hmm.
fit in a lot of the places she goes, but she just it's so
Right,
difficult to fit in with religious people because
exactly. It will
there's not a lot of like not there's not a lot of like
understanding
common understanding. Exactly. Yeah. You don't try to find common ground. Instead,
exactly.
you're just like, well, there's so much contention just from little disagreements.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I
Like
don't,
someone,
yeah.
if I walked into the church, which I want to do this someday because it'd be so funny, but if I walked into the church that I grew up in now, like immediately they would assume that I'm just, a hella rebellious. I just want to go out and do my own thing.
Mhm.
I just want to
Yeah.
sin. They would not listen to anything that I say if I
Hmm.
try to have a conversation with them, just immediately shut down because
Yeah.
they automatically assume that I'm just a rebellious person that wants to sin and do all
Yeah.
these things because of my appearance. So
Right. Yeah.
it's so
Dude,
it's supposed to
a
be
lot of that goes
love.
into your appearance. It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, yeah, and you're
Part of the
not supposed
reason
to
why I
judge people.
slipped under the rug for so long and still do now is because I look like everybody at the
Yeah,
church that we
right,
go to.
exactly.
I
Like
fit
that's
in.
it would help with it. And like, dude, my
Yeah.
mom cried when I got my first tattoo. Like, it's
Yeah.
so like for them the just the idea of even dressing
Mhm.
like the world they would say
Right. Yeah.
is so scary because they're like you're
Mhm.
letting go of everything. And
Yeah.
it's sad. Like that's the saddest thing for me is like seeing because I still care about my family, and
Yeah.
I've said this so many times. Like I still care about them. I give
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of shits about them, but
Right. Yeah.
it's so separate now that it's not the same, dude. And that's I think the biggest thing that religion. I really don't care, but one thing that I would do, like if I could go back and religion's been responsible for a lot of good things, but there's a lot of bad things too. And I think tearing apart families is one of the biggest ones because
Yeah.
it you can't they can't understand you. Like they
Right.
have to believe that you are a sinner and you're wrong, and they have to save
Mm.
you, and it
Yeah.
just adds all this pressure, bro. Like how the fuck are you supposed to accept someone if and they say like, oh, we accept people like I'd be friends with a gay person. The fuck you would? No, you wouldn't, because the whole
Mhm.
time
Yeah.
you'd be thinking, oh, this
Yeah. That's
person
not how
needs to
friendship works, man.
exactly. You can't be friends with
It's
someone
kind of
like
like
that.
it's kind of like people like. I mean, I come on, I have black friends. It's like, no, you have black acquaintances.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
If you've got to defend your racist ideas and beliefs
Exactly.
with
You
I have black
can't,
friends,
dude.
you do not have black friends.
Right. And
Unless they're like I've known some black families which are had a
mhm.
little bit of internalized racism there.
Oh yeah.
And it's the same thing as like people have had some people talk about like having internalized homophobia when they're younger,
Oh
you
yeah, I
know,
did. Oh, I did
even though
for
they're gay, they're like,
100%.
yeah, but I don't act on it
Oh
because it's
yeah.
a choice to act upon it. Therefore, being gay is a choice.
Right. So there's a story about that, like 100%, like homophobia and racism is taught because that shit,
Mhm.
like, um, you get so far into it. The first time I saw a gay couple, I was probably like 13, and I was at a park, and it was these two dudes that came up, and okay, maybe they shouldn't be, because they were kind of getting into it, like not grinding and shit, but like putting
Yeah.
hands up shirts and shit. Probably
Yeah,
shouldn't be
but like
doing that
you
at a
see how
park.
many straight couples go around,
Yeah, okay, but I've
feeling
never
each other up.
seen I've never seen a straight couple feel each other up like these dudes were at a park, with a lot of kids around. But even
Yeah,
then,
it's a little
like
questionable, but
even
yeah.
even then, like I saw them and I was terrified. Like I was
Hmm.
like actually scared. I was like,
Yeah,
what the fuck? And just because it's what I was taught.
yeah.
And even like
It's
growing
like
up,
they're coming for
like
your butthole next.
yeah, exactly. And even growing up,
Once they're finished.
yeah, once they're finished, there's no stopping them, bro. They're horny motherfuckers. But so anyway, like even after like questioning ideas and changing my mind, I realized like, oh, like I still like kind of think it's gross. But then I just realized, oh, I'm straight. Like like I can still think it's gross, but I realized like I wasn't holding any fear
Yeah,
or
yeah,
basically I guess assumptions about their character based on that,
yeah.
and
Right.
all that disappeared. And dude, the most freeing thing, I don't know, it's not like this for everyone, but when I left and just kind of one day, I remember very clearly, like one day there was so many questions in my head and so many doubts that I was just like, if God's real and it's not something that we can do or whatever, and if God's supposed to save us, then he's just gonna have to save me, and I'm gonna stop trying. I'm gonna stop putting in any effort at all.
Yeah,
And the moment I did
yeah.
that, I felt so free and like
Right.
happy, just because I had all those ideas and like
Mhm.
biases and shit gone, that I really didn't give a
Yeah,
shit what people did. As long as you're not hurting people, I
yeah,
don't care. And it's freeing, dude. Like I
yeah,
know I
yeah. I
know it
mean,
doesn't seem like it because I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but like
go
I
ahead.
maybe some of the people listening like look at me and think like I have a really sad life, or a lot of people think that, like you look at
Hmm.
someone that is partying a lot, doing a lot of drugs, things like that. You think like they have a sad life and is very uh, lost, and a lot of people,
Hmm.
that it can be their case because the reason why they're doing drugs though is because their life is already fucked up by other people
Hmm.
or just their situation. So it's
Yeah,
it's a way of escape. It's not they start doing drugs and then their life became shit. That can happen sometimes if you're not responsible. But I have a job, I have my own place, I have my own car.
yeah,
That's more than most people my age.
yeah. Like
And
there are homeless people here on the streets of Rapid in the dead of winter.
exactly. Yeah. Like, and I feel really bad for those people, but it's not because I do drugs. I'm not going to ruin my life. If I ruin my life, it's because
Mm.
I'm stupid, you know. And
Yeah.
and really, it's not a bad life. Like you can go out
Mhm.
in the world. It's not all scary. You'll have a lot of questions, a lot of doubts, but it's not like, oh, everyone's evil, that doesn't believe in God. It's really not like that because I met a lot of really good people and they don't believe in God. So like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I
there's
I
got to be
found
something
in
else.
my experience was kind of similar in that I found that as soon as you kind of took away the fear aspect, the rest of it fell apart. Like once I
Yeah,
stopped, because I kind of got to the point where it's just
that's the
like,
hardest part, though.
do I really believe that the God of the
Hmm.
entire universe is going to send people to an eternal hell
Hmm.
just for being human? Like it didn't make sense. And
Right.
so after I got to that point, it was just like if I decide there's no God, he's surely a loving God would be understanding and be like, you know what, I get it, man. Sometimes I don't think I exist either.
You're right.
You know,
Yeah. Well, also another thing like that is really people don't understand is you can't choose what you believe. Like you can't. People believe insane shit, and it's not like they chose to believe that. It's a lot of influences, your life. your upbringing. There's a lot of things that influence it, and I can't choose to believe in God. Like I know my parents all the time. Like even like a few days ago, my dad called me and he was like, my heart's really heavy and you're going down a bad path. You're gonna ruin your life. You need to
Mm.
turn to God. I'm like, I can't. Like it's literally impossible for me because it's
Yeah.
so laughable now. I even if I did it, it'd be fake. I
Yeah,
can't give
exactly.
myself
Yeah.
belief. And then that's when they're like, oh yeah, but God has to give you faith. And I'm like, well, he better do it then because I
Then do
can't do
it.
it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what? I'm just gonna chill until like I actually see something
Yeah.
that is a reason to believe because I can't
Right,
blindly
yeah.
believe that. Even if it'll make my
Yeah.
life better and give me like assurance or whatever, it's just gonna
Mhm.
be fake. And I'd like to believe that when we die, we go and we all get fucking mansions. It would be cool, like to believe a lot of things would happen when we die, but
Yeah.
it's might you don't know for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Did you ever have a moment where you were just like, maybe I should hedge my bets on
no.
the worst God or the best
Yeah,
heaven?
I've
I had a little
definitely.
bit. I've still got it. I've got my little Buddha here.
Oh yeah, a
You
little
can see
Buddha.
that. This is my little Buddha I keep here on my desk
Right.
because I kind of went through a period where I was like, let me see what other people, let me go to the other stores, let's see what they have to
Exactly.
offer,
Yeah.
and it's just like, I liked a lot of the tenets of Buddhism because they were very practical and they were very focused
Mhm.
on use your freaking brain, dude. You don't
Right.
need to
Yeah.
rely on my teachings all the time. You can use your own brain too.
Mhm.
But I think what kind of threw me off of it in the end was that I was reading this book by the Dalai Lama, um, and he was saying essentially he had conversations with even Carl Sagan has talked to him before he died. I think this was back in the 90s that Carl Sagan talked to him. But Carl Sagan asked, it's like, well, would you if science went against Buddhism, would Buddhism change? And the Dalai Lama was like, absolutely. And he was like, okay, even if it was like um, we proved that reincarnation doesn't happen. And he was
Right.
just like, oh, yeah, we'd change our beliefs to science to prove that. But that's going to be pretty hard for you to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
The
You.
Dalai Lama told him that. And essentially, in this book, the Dalai Lama was just like saying that, yeah, science has shown all this stuff, but it hasn't disproved that Buddhism is true. And at that point, I was just like, oh, I've heard this before. I've heard
Right.
this pitch
It's
before.
Christianity. It's the
And
same thing.
that's kind of like, that's the point where I kind of got. Do you think, because a lot of Christians use this to like justify a lot of like bad things in the world. They use like say, oh, it's because we have to have free will. I've kind of gotten to the point where I don't believe in free will. What do you think? You think there's free
I
will?
I think I don't know. I think we definitely can make choices.
Right.
I think it's one of those things like we don't really know. Like we don't know
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
the reason why we do
We
something
certainly, it
is
seems like we have free will sometimes, but I feel
right.
like it's just an illusion
It
because
could be
I
an
don't have a
illusion. Yeah.
choice in where I was raised. I don't
Right.
have a choice in 90% of things that happened to me in life. And those are the things that influence my decisions now. So aren't
Exactly.
my decisions just influenced by my upbringing?
Right. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it's a weird concept because as soon as you start thinking about it, the whole thing I feel like just really falls
Mhm.
apart. But
I
I
think
feel
for
like we've kind of reached a pinnacle of white people on podcasts. Do you think free will exists?
oh yeah, baby, we're
Joe
getting into
Rogan
the
don't even know
deeps.
what's coming for him.
We're getting into the deeps. At least we're not talking about DMT. We're good. But so I think free will, as much as like what you believe, I don't think you can really choose that. I think
Mm-hmm.
certain choices we can make can affect our lives. Obviously, like I can go out right
Right.
now and shoot some people. Um, that would definitely change my life for
But
the
you
rest of
wouldn't
my life.
actually do that is a
I
thing,
I
right?
wouldn't
It's
do
like
that.
you
No,
could
no.
make that choice, but
I
you
could,
wouldn't
but
make that choice. Like,
yeah, but there
unless
are
like, yeah,
things that
you
I've
like,
chosen to do like on a whim.
right.
So
Yeah.
I think yes, there is free will, but at the same time, like it maybe not. It's one of those things like we
Yeah.
can never really prove,
it's,
and
it's weird. Yeah.
it's one of those things also like I don't think really matters. I think definitely for
No.
Christianity, when Christians are like, "Oh yeah, you got free will, you can choose to serve God or
Hmm.
whatever."
Yeah.
No, that
Right.
can't
Yeah.
happen because for that takes a belief, and you can't do that for beliefs. But I do think it honestly though, if we don't have free will, or like it's kind of like the idea of like, is this all a simulation? Like, then what's the
Hmm.
point?
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. It doesn't. I don't really give a shit if it's all a simulation. I don't care because
Yeah.
it's still my life. I still enjoy my life.
Yeah.
I have a good life,
It's
So
still
I'm gonna
fun though.
make the best of it that I can while I'm here, and Did you ever watch? Have you watched Free Guy yet? The movie with Ryan Reynolds.
Not yet. It's on my
Okay,
list. It's on my
it's pretty
list.
good. I won't spoil it, but it kind of touches on that idea of like
Hmm.
if this is all like a simulation or if this is all fake, then what's the point? And one of the characters is like, I wouldn't care if I found out this was all a simulation because I still have my life. I still have people that I care about. I
Hmm.
have things that I can do. Like maybe there's a bigger world, out there around me, but I don't really give a shit. If I did find out it was a
Hmm.
simulation, I probably would want to get out just to see what happens.
Yeah.
It would be cool, but that's just a
Yeah.
curiosity thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I think that's, a lot of what drives science is to, like, what if there is
Yeah.
something? What if there's something more? But also just like, there's so much to discover even here, even in
Oh
this
yeah.
world. If it turns out there's another one that we can get to,
That'd be
that'll
really
be,
dope.
that'll be pretty fun.
That'll be
But
fun as hell.
unless it turns out that the guy that runs that world is a bit of a jerk, that would suck.
Yeah.
But
I think over time, religion, just in general, will become way less,
right.
way
Yeah.
less of a thing that influences it. It's just hard in America because it was built around that shit, and
Right.
so
Yeah.
it's a lot of deep ideas of bigotry and racism and
Hmm.
just Christianity in general. But
Yeah.
for other countries, it's the same thing. Less developed countries rely a lot
Right.
more on religion,
Hmm.
and it's just kind of how humans are. Like we want to believe in
Yeah.
something because when you're having a really rough time and not a lot of security, you want something to put your security in. And for a
Yeah.
lot of people, it was a belief in something. The Catholic Church,
Hmm.
Islam, Buddha, and it's all
Yeah.
different regions, different dialects. So it's very obvious to look at it, and you could just be really cold hearted and say, "Oh, it's all just a coping mechanism, method. We should just be out
Hmm.
with all of it."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it could definitely do good for people.
Yeah, I mean, if people are motivated, like I know a lot of people who are motivated by Christianity, even
Yeah,
to actually do good in the world. I mean, like
yeah, and that's
one of
good.
my favorite musicians from the '70s, Yusuf Cat Stevens, became a Muslim,
Hmm.
and that has motivated him to do all kinds of like good in the world.
Right,
he's done a lot of work towards education
right.
for kids in poverty. And that's, I think, objectively, that's a good thing. He was
That is a joke.
motivated by
Yeah,
religion, but he's done good through it. It's not like he went out and was like, okay, I got to go bomb Pearl Harbor or something,
exactly.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, or like
And,
go
that
slaughter
was another
Christians or
thing is
something.
like a wake up of just like, oh, this guy's, he became a Muslim, but like he's done a lot of good ever
Yeah,
since, maybe, what your actions matter more.
yeah.
But,
Your actions are the biggest thing. I think it's your motivation, and um, I mean, as long as you don't like push it or deep down have that judgment of other people, I don't really give a shit what you do. But at the same time, there are definitely harmful beliefs, and
yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of times those come with Christianity. So I think, uh, I'm not like I know Christians think that it's going to be soon communism is going to come into America and we're
Right.
going to try to persecute all the Christians or people that believe shit. No, that's not going to happen. That's
Hmm.
never going to happen in America. But I do think that it'll become way less mainstream. It'll be kind of
Yeah.
looked down as like a joke. And honestly, I
Hmm.
think that's for the best because if people focus more on being a good person instead of, uh, like relying on a book or a God to tell them to be a good person, I
Hmm.
think it's just going
Yeah.
to be better for everyone. Because there's
I
a
think
lot of
you're
things
probably
in the
right.
Bible that it says you can do that are fucked up. A lot of things that says you can't
Hmm.
do that are perfectly fine
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
happy for your life, and a a lot of really harmful things that like genuinely
Yeah.
ruin people's lives. In the
Hmm.
Bible. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
very confusing. It's a big mess.
Yeah. I mean, shucks. I don't know, dude. Like, I think I obviously still think it's important to respect other people's religion,
Yeah.
but like at the same time, if it's like, I can't help but wonder, is it really your religion that's motivating you to like
Yeah,
be
I think.
homophobic or transphobic? Yeah. I don't
I
know.
think. I think it is a lot. Not always a religion. I think it's just things people have been taught,
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
people. Because I don't think anyone's like
Because like
born
nobody defends
racist.
slavery really, as far as like even in
Right.
right wing America. Like
Yeah.
I've seen
At least
some
they
review
moved
like,
on from that.
slavery wasn't that bad. They had a job to do at least.
I have heard that before. Oh God, it doesn't. It at least it doesn't come out anymore as like outright like just racism.
Yeah.
Enslaved
Yeah.
people. but it comes out in
Yeah.
a lot of other ways, in like the ways people vote
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
systematic
Yeah.
racism and you know just preconceived ideas and biases and shit. So it's definitely still here. Yeah, obviously, like they'll always say America's not racist. You can go out and get a job as a black person. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But also, there's other people going out and getting jobs, and you really think around here they're gonna hire someone from the hood, with face tats, like
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
a good, well dressed
You're right.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
straight man.
I'm
Like
like, yeah.
it's just logic, bro. Like you can see it
Hmm.
around us everywhere. And it
Right.
just makes. And honestly, life is just a series of coincidences and luck. Like the
Yeah.
the more
Yeah.
chance you have to do good, like the more
Hmm.
money and the more education you get, because you can't control those things where you're born. So like a lot of it is just based on luck. Like I'm lucky because I was I was born into a Christian household, which I mean, you know, nothing
Yeah.
crazy really happens. And I was able to get a job and then move out of my parents' house. But a lot of people
Hmm.
can't do that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. A lot of
So
people don't have
I'm
that
lucky,
opportunity. Yeah.
I got some
Well,
privileges.
now seems like a perfect time to go on to the
Aha.
segment
Segments.
section of the show. We got segments, baby.
Oh hell
So
yeah.
this, ladies and gentlemen, is recommendations.
Yay!
So I got a soundboard now,
Oh
so
hell,
that means
I
I
heard
can
it.
I can do all kinds of
Oh
sounds,
shit.
but I don't have
Wait
very
just a
many.
second.
I need to
I'm
write
touching my
some.
earbud.
I want to write some like theme songs for this show, but
Oh hell yeah.
you
Get
know
some of your own
I'm too busy
custom
doing
songs.
the show to write
Yeah.
stuff for the show. But anyway, I'm gonna go. So basically, I'm gonna have. I've got 3 recommendations I'm gonna share,
Okay,
and if you
okay.
want to share 1, 2, 3 recommendations, whatever you want,
Ooh.
you can think about a few while I'm going through these.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, if you come up with whatever you come up with is fine.
Was it
I
like
was planning
music
on
or
like it was just whatever you want to recommend, dude. Whatever pop culture
oh
thing you want to recommend. So
okay,
I'm
let
gonna
me
start something I got into this week, which is I finally, after hearing several people talk about it and seeing it all over Twitter, I finally started playing Wordle. Have you seen that at all?
playing what?
Wordle? Wordle.
Wordle? No.
Yeah. It's
Never even heard of that.
essentially once a day they have a new word you have to guess. It's a 5 letter word.
Oh.
And essentially you just you got to guess what the word is by, and it'll show you, oh, the yellow word letters are the ones that are in the word but not in the right place. The green is where you got it in the right place. The gray is where it's not in the word at all. So essentially you've 6 tries, and so far I've done, I think, 5 of them. I've done 5 of them in a row in the last 5 days.
Oh shit.
And
Like
yeah,
a
I
brain
think it's
game.
cool because like I love this idea of like a brain game that only updates once a day, instead of me
Right.
being stuck on it for like hours on end. I come back every
True.
day, and like I've been
Like a
trying to
little
get better
little
habits this
achievement.
year. Just
Yeah,
like
that's
I got this journal that has like entries for every single day, so
mhm.
I don't have to write them myself. So I'm kind of pressured with that. I just leave it on my nightstand open with a pen next to it. So when I go to bed,
Right.
I just write a
Boop, boop, boop.
bullet journal of what I did in that day.
Yeah.
And
So you got like a
it's a nice way
chronicles.
to close the day. And I've been trying to do it for forever, but you know me, I'm way too unfocused to remember. And I go to bed and I'm just like,
Oh yeah.
I see my old journal. I'm just like, then I have to open it, find the right page. I got to write today's date. I got to write, and I always end up writing more than I want to. I always
Right.
end up writing like a whole paragraph instead of like the bullets. So bullet journalism works really well. But yeah, Wordle's another thing which kind of has like encouraged me to have like kind of a more healthy habit. Plus, it enables me like enjoy my morning coffee, because
Oh
normally
hell
I'll
yeah.
like have my morning coffee while writing a to-do list for the day
Oh
or while
yeah.
stressing out before work. But now instead I'll just do Wordle. I'll do the day's Wordle while I'm having coffee, and it gives like my brain something else, something more chill to focus on
Focus
while
on.
I'm enjoying that.
Hell yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Okay, okay.
so recommendation number 2 though from me, 2 for 2, is the album "But Seriously" by Phil Collins. I've been re-listening to that one recently. You're probably not a big. Have you listened to much of his stuff?
Phil Collins. Let me see.
Phil
I'm
Collins.
looking
He
it
did
up right
"In the
now.
Air Tonight," which is that one song. I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Oh
Oh
yeah, that
no.
doesn't sound like anything I know before.
Yeah, but like this album, I love so much.
Mhm.
He's got a couple songs that I think Eric Clapton played the guitar solo on.
Okay.
So much of that album is just so good, dude. Like if you want like a pinnacle of like this is what 80s music was all about.
Right.
Either Phil Collins or Genesis is the ones I recommend you go into because he was so
Okay.
good. He did the music for Tarzan. You seen that one?
Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
the
So that was
old
Phil
cartoon.
Collins singing in that one. Yeah, the whole
Oh
cartoon.
shit. Okay.
So, yeah, he's one of my favorite
He an
musicians.
OG.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, that whole album, but seriously, is so good. It's such
It's
a
a
good album,
banger.
dude. And last but not least, my one of my favorite newer musicians, George Ezra. He's a big guitar guy, but
Okay.
his newer music is kind of taking a more I guess more poppy kind of feel. But he released a new single called "Anyone for You," and it's part of his new album, which is Gold Rush Kid is his new album's name, which I've already pre-ordered the signed vinyl for. Which I like look on the store and I'm just like, whoa, only £20, and then the PayPal is like, oh yeah, that's actually like $30.
True. Yeah, true. Because our inflation's amazing.
But yeah, I love all of George Ezra's
Okay.
music. He takes so long between stuff. Plus, he's got a couple podcasts, one of which he did during 2020 and part of 2021, called Phone a Friend, where he and his friend just basically call each other on the phone and they had conversations about their mental health that week.
Hmm,
Which I
okay.
love seeing like musicians like that open up about
Yeah.
it
Exactly. Yeah.
because his music
It's
is always
valid.
really positive, and so it's
Right.
interesting to see that he actually struggles with mental health during
Mm-hmm.
his normal life, and
Yeah.
like that's why like he has such a gap between his music.
Yeah.
Like he
I
hasn't
like.
released an album for 3 years, well, more than 3 years now. There
Damn.
was like a 6-7 year gap between his first album and his second album,
Right.
which he
I'm going
did.
through
Have
it.
you heard Budapest?
Have I been to
No.
Budapest?
Have you heard Budapest?
Oh
The song
no.
Miles from Budapest, my hidden treasure
I
chest,
don't think so.
golden grand piano. Yeah, that was his
No.
big hit that kind of knocked him off. But yeah, that his newer music is still uses the guitar a lot, but I just
Right.
love the way he writes his songs. And yeah, it's one of those guys which I've listened to enough of his podcast that now it's just like, this is my friend. Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
this is a musician, which I
Yeah.
do not know at all.
The
Did my
parasocial.
did my camera shut off, by the way?
Yeah, it's
It's
frozen.
not okay. It's frozen. Okay, it went away. I think my camera probably went dead. So I'm getting
Oh,
real
get
quick.
it real.
Can I switch webcams? You know what? We're not having webcam for the rest.
All right. You guys can look. Oh,
I
it's
wonder if
loading
I can.
video.
I ought to be able to adjust my settings for
You
it, but
should. I think you
unfortunately,
can.
in between,
Oh, I can turn it off.
yeah,
I can turn off my
it
camera.
doesn't have the settings. There was a setting before I started recording, but now it went away. So apparently, in between
Oh,
recordings, you're
damn.
not allowed to use it. But anyway,
Well, you guys can look at my
yeah,
beautiful face.
you could just look at Josiah.
There we go.
Uh, anyway, so that was my
Wait.
recommendations. You got anything,
Okay.
dude,
Okay.
to recommend to the
Ooh.
people at home?
I got a lot of music. For I got a show recommendation. I don't know if you watch Netflix a lot or if you even watch Netflix a lot.
Sometimes.
But Arcane. Have you watched that?
I haven't watched it yet. It's kind of been on
Okay.
my list, but
It's
like I got so
it's
much other stuff that yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking good. Like I'm never really into like animes that much. But it's like an animated show. It's not really anime, but
Yeah,
it's an
yeah.
animated show. And I thought like when I heard that they were releasing like a TV series based on a video game, League of Legends, that was going to be shitty.
Yeah.
And I never really played League of Legends that much. But you don't have to like know like the lore or the backstory of League of Legends really at all. And I'm sure if you play League of Legends, it's even better. But I really fucking enjoyed it. Probably my favorite animated show I've ever watched, and it was really good. I watched the whole thing in like one day. So
Yeah.
definitely, Arcane is a good ass show. For music, let me just see what I've been listening to lately. I've been listening to like a little bit difference here and there. There's an artist that has like uh, it's a lot more chill music than what I normally listen to. It's like kind of sad, but
Yeah.
Jonah, what the hell? Why can't I find him? Jonah Zed. Jonah Zed. He has 1.1 yeah 1.1k subscribers, and he makes some of the best music I've ever heard. And he's a fucking it's just vibe music, super chill, perfect for like listening to like playing a game, listening to music. And so I highly recommend Jonah Zed because he deserves
Mm,
way more exposure.
yeah.
And
Do you got a favorite single or album from him?
Uh, probably my favorite song by him is "Happy Now." That's his most popular one. So yeah, Jonah Zed, "Happy Now" is a super vibey song, and it kind of just takes you into like a chill place. And so definitely that. If you want like more aggressive, or more like hyperpop. Hyperpop definitely Yami, Yameii, makes a lot of good music. That's one of my friends, I guess. Not super well known, but super good music. Super catchy for like hardcore shit. Probably Lil Darkie. Lil Darkie was it's very controversial, dude. But he's a good person. He genuinely just wants to make people happy, and a lot of his music super deep. Even if you
Hmm.
listen to it, you wouldn't think so because it's a lot of like very screaming, yelling rap. But
Right.
super underground artists. These are all like underground artists. So like
Yeah.
very creative, very honest and open, and I just really enjoy their music. So that'd be my recommendation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and
What's your
start speedrunning Super Mario 64 because it's really fun and I think everyone should try it.
I think I might. I'm debating whether or not to like
Dude, you
practice a
should.
little bit later today. Maybe do like a later
I've been
stream
trying to get
because I
all my
think
friends to do
I
it.
want to do it, dude. I want to do it. It looks so cool.
It's fun. It's fun.
So
It's just like
I might start doing that at least once a week. And
hell yeah,
yeah, I'm
dude.
just saying if you want to hop on and when
Hell yeah.
you
I'll
know
teach you, man.
later on we can go through some of the cheats together.
Hell yeah.
I always want to set up everything, and I
Oh
still have
yeah.
Project 64 on my computer, so I should
Yeah.
have all the stuff, dude.
As
I
long as
just
you got
chances are
yeah.
I'll open up Super Mario 64 and it'll be the hack where he explodes when you push
You're
buttons.
like shit, I already lost. Yeah,
It's like,
basically
oh shoot, I forgot.
all you need is if you want I'd probably recommend a timer. Get a timer, live split, super
Yeah,
easy to set up.
yeah,
And
yeah. I
then
found
just the
that one, and
ROM
yeah,
and a good controller, I guess. What were you gonna say
yeah,
before though?
yeah.
Before I said Super Mario
Oh,
64.
what's your when you discover new music? What's your go-to method? Like, where is like the never fail method for like discovering artists that
Most
you'll like?
most of the time, either like I'll watch. There's a channel. Oh, so like if I recommend like a music channel, the best one by
Hmm.
far is Hive Mind, in my opinion. So
Mm,
Hive Mind, underground like channel again. They only have like 100K subscribers, which they recently have started blowing up. Because
right.
before very small, but super funny dudes. Reminds me a little bit of Super Mega with the way they play off of each other.
Hmm.
Um, and they just go over music and they have a series where they say where it's like top 5 underground artists, and I found a lot of really good artists that way. But most of the time it's just me going through YouTube because I'm on YouTube a lot and just clicking
Yeah.
on recommended songs I've never heard before and listening to them.
Right.
That's how I
Yeah. I
found
mean,
Jonah Zed.
shucks. There's a lot that like
Oh yeah.
I've discovered a lot of like new music through just like the weirdest ways.
Yeah.
Most is most like I remember one. I had discovered this group called the New Radicals. They're from the '90s, but their music
Hmm.
sounds very influenced by like '70s stuff.
Right.
But like I heard it on the radio and I listened to the whole album like, oh, this is amazing. And then I was watching Surfs Up and it was the second time I saw it. So it wasn't like the first time. It was like, oh
Mhm.
wait, that's the New Radicals.
It's
How
the
did I listen to this
song.
and not catch that song?
I knew
Of
this
course,
song.
also the second time I watched that film, I was like, wait a second, that guy's voice sounds familiar. It's the dude. It's the dude from the Big Lebowski.
It's the
Have you seen
guy.
that film yet?
Big
Have you seen
Lebowski.
that film ever? Big Lebowski.
No.
I recommend it, dude. I think you'd love
Okay.
it.
Okay.
It's a very it's just, essentially it's a film that started a whole religion, but the whole religion is called Dudism, and it's just
Oh.
like
Oh.
the
Like
whole religion revolves
Chaz.
around taking it easy.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Well, maybe
the
not
dude
Chaz
taking
then.
it easy for all us poor sinners. But yeah, I
Oh
recommend
yeah.
that
I've
film
never
as
seen it.
well because it's
Hell
just
yeah.
so fabulous.
I'll watch
So
that
many
movie.
great films, dude.
There's a lot of
I'm
good
so
movies.
behind.
A lot of good movies.
I'm
A
so
lot of good
behind on the
music.
world.
Yeah.
I've watched films all the way from the '50s, dude. And I'm like, oh, they made good films
Some
back then too.
classics, dude.
I've got a lot to watch.
Some classics. Yeah. There's a lot of me
I gotta
like
make it to 100 just so I can catch up with all the good ones.
exactly.
At least they aren't making too many good films nowadays, because otherwise I'd
Yeah.
be really screwed.
They're pretty ass. There's not been that many good movies.
Every now and then they'll do one that's really good, but like,
Yeah.
man, it's just so much of it's became like corporate that like
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's just like the same like marketing shit.
yeah,
It's kind of it's a
and
big
some of those films
corporation
are
though.
fun, and
Yeah. They're good.
if it's fun, I guess I enjoy it. But
Yeah.
like
They're good times
now that I've
sometimes.
seen some of these classic films, it's like I just have so much of a fun time
Not the
going back,
same.
just like like these old horror films when you see like oh how influential they were
Right.
to like the medium of filmmaking and how like how people like with just the camera were able to go out and create a classic film. It's like
Yeah. Yeah, they had a lot of different ideas back then. I think they were more focused on creating instead of selling something.
yeah, yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
that's a
I wonder
big
if the
problem.
internet has kind of affected that because like I mean just like I don't know if you've experienced this, but I've found that myself if I'm enjoying a game, I'm just like, how can I make this into content?
Right,
How can I
right.
make content around this?
Yeah,
And it's not like I even get paid, but like it's like I'm doing it
yeah.
for the cloud or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's probably just because we like making content. It's like
Yeah,
some we
yeah. So
enjoy
maybe
doing.
it is. Maybe I am a creative person.
Yeah, no, I think you create. I mean, because like a lot of
Yeah,
times, yeah, things can be copied and inspired off of things, but like that's kind of the point. And at the end of the day, like do your own thing. Everyone's going to be different. It's going to have a different spin on it, and eventually, maybe someday people will be inspired by you, and then they'll be basing things off of you. You know, so I think it really doesn't matter too much as long as you just and do what you enjoy doing. I know some people just straight up rip content, and that's pretty fucked up because then you're
yeah, yeah.
profiting from something that isn't yours. But
Hmm.
um, I think it's honestly you're always going to copy someone. Like especially yeah with the age of the internet, it's you're going to copy someone, and that's why I think. But I also do think the internet has helped a lot because a lot of
Oh yeah, oh
back
yeah,
in the day, really the only way to get exposed like in the music industry was like knowing someone, you know, or having like
yeah,
a
yeah.
connection. But now you can, it's hard, but you can be discovered, you know, on the internet, SoundCloud, so
Hmm.
many good artists,
Yeah,
Juice World,
yeah.
like just people that are legend that are going to be legends for our time and our generation have
Hmm.
been discovered on the internet, you know. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's definitely a good thing.
It's kind of gotten rid of the gatekeepers in a
Yeah,
way, I
exactly.
guess.
A lot of the gatekeeping is gone now. I mean, it's still obviously there, but
Well, yeah, but like there's kind of like a I mean just like I think about like I wouldn't know how to make videos and stuff
hell
if it
yeah,
weren't for the internet. Of course I wouldn't be,
you wouldn't be making
like
videos
I wouldn't be
and
making
posting
videos
it
for
on
the
the
internet.
town board.
But like I mean just like I wouldn't know how like I could watch films and be like I wonder how they got those special effects,
Right.
but I wouldn't be able to do it myself. Or like
Yeah.
music, I would still be listening to music and probably writing music, but I would never be able to learn how to like record music on
Hmm.
my own. I mean I'm
Yeah.
sure you could with trial and error, but like I don't
Yeah.
got
Exactly.
patience for that.
Yeah. You don't have someone like teaching
That's
you.
probably why it took me like freaking 6, 7 years before I recorded anything for
Hmm.
music. It was just because like there was so much to learn and it's so difficult to find good, valuable information on that.
Yeah. And now you can learn pretty much anything on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many much better channels than there were
Oh yeah.
even like, 10 years ago on YouTube was
Yeah.
just like
Exactly.
some kid be like, how to record on Audacity. Push
They'd be
record.
Bandicam. They'd be using
Here's
Bandicam, the
Bandicam.
watermark. Now
Yeah,
you can
with the
just
watermark up there.
now
Oh my god, I remember doing videos with that on it.
the good old watermark, dude.
I still have my licensed Bandicam on my computer. I use every
Shit.
now and then for screen capturing.
Oh, bro,
I dropped the $40, dude. I'm a rich
oh
bitch.
hell yeah, dude. That's gonna be a an artifact soon, man. You should keep hold on to that. Maybe you
Yeah,
could
I mean,
sell it
I'm yeah.
like an NFT or something.
I mean, I still had like an old Snagit, the screen capture software, which
Oh
like
shit.
worked in like 5 frames per second.
Yeah, I used to use
A lot of people
Fraps.
use that for tutorials or like presentations, like for PowerPoint. But
Yeah, I
it
used to
doesn't
use
work super
Fraps,
great. I
bro.
used it to record the Let's Play of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon
Ah,
back freaking
classic.
7 years ago.
Back
Yeah,
in the
that was
day.
a fun playthrough.
Yeah.
Made me cry at the end. Good times.
Back. Oh
uh,
no. When it touches your heart. Now you can just download OBS for free and literally have infinite
yeah.
power.
Oh,
It's
it's
so
such a
nice.
great software, dude. I'm so
It's so
glad that
nice.
they made it because like
Oh yeah.
I was using I think XSplit before,
Yeah,
and
XSplit
like
XSplit's okay.
it's a good software, but like they hide a lot of stuff behind the paywall.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas OBS, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Um,
Now it says
but
EOS
anyway,
webcam utility.
yeah. Now it's like I've given up. I've given up the
Dude, it's
ghost.
so weird.
uh, anyway, dude, it's been awesome having you.
Hell yeah, dude.
You're an awesome person.
Why
I
thank you.
loved hearing from you again, and I really hope we can continue to hang out
Oh
on
yeah, dude.
streams
Do some
because
collaborations or something.
yeah, it's always weird reconnecting with people from my past because like
Yeah.
there's so many people that I forget about and I like remember,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, we still connect after all this time,
Back in the
you
day.
know. Or
Yeah, dude.
just like with Homeschooled Nerd, there have been people that like reached out to me afterwards, being like, "Whoa, I didn't even realize that you watched Homeschooled Nerd."
Yeah.
Like people that I enjoyed watching on YouTube, they were just like, "I watched your channel. Why'd you quit, man?"
Oh shit. That's pretty cool though. That's pretty
It is,
dope.
and yeah, it's this has been. I feel like this has been an awesome podcast episode. Maybe I'm
Yes, sir.
biased, but
I'm a little
I
bit
really
biased too.
enjoyed this. This has been a lot of fun.
Man, chill. We got it.
Where can people find you?
Just
Where in the
CyanIce.
U.S.?
Yeah, you can find me 22 North Lane. No, yeah, just CyanIce, I guess on everything. Twitch, probably just go to Twitch because I only stream
Yeah,
really
just
anymore.
Twitch.
Twitch is I like streaming. It's something I can do when I'm bored. So CyanIce underscore live on Twitch, and that's pretty much it, I guess. You could probably find me at the club on the weekends if you want, but I was like, wait, is my OBS on? Because that sounded like one of my alerts. I was like, what the hell?
uh, Gotta love the soundboard, dude.
Hell
Anyway,
yeah.
thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
Have a
of course,
wonderful
man.
Friday, dude. And the
Hey,
rest of
hell
you
yeah.
listening. Oh, I dropped my
Well,
microphone. It fell off.
oh, shit.
Good thing my camera was on. That would have been embarrassing.
Oh,
That
well,
would have been real embarrassing.
glad,
Anyway,
glad for
all of
Jay.
you at home, thank you for listening to another episode of Fries with Vinny.
Bless you,
As
children.
always, I love you guys. Love yourselves. And have a great weekend. Bye-bye.